Nice. Cool. Yeah, I'll send that around. Cool. Oh, sorry. When is your practices? You're like an hour and a half south of DC, right? I might try to make it out to Sunday because I'll be in town. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Gotcha. Cool. Mics are on. Ooh, can we hear us? Oh yeah, our mics are on. Yes, we gotta say all the bad stuff that gets us kicked off Twitch.
Bring it down a little bit so it's not too bad compared to our voices, hopefully. All right. Chat. Hello. Hello. Thank you for joining us. Today we are doing some footage review of, well, Robert, do you want to kind of give the kind of your idea of, because this is your kind of your vision come to life.
Yeah, so a couple weeks back, a couple of our intermediate fencers said to me that they wanted to do some video review, and was thinking about that and realized that there's probably a lot of intermediate level fencers who haven't done much video review and could really benefit from it. So I thought it would be cool to make a thing out of it and do what we're doing today.
Seems good. Do you have a list pulled up?
I do. Yeah, I'm hoping we'll get some people on the Discord server soon so we can chat with people as we review.
Is there something you wanted to watch for yourself before that? Give them a little bit of time.
See if I've got any good stuff. Let me take a look at my...
Are you still streaming your end?
It should be. Let me double check. Yeah, do you see me in Discord?
Yeah. I don't know why it says I failed to watch you. Oh, Sal. Hello,
hey,
Sal.
Nice.
Heyo.
Oh, yeah.
I'm mostly here to watch my student stuff, but also I want to see everyone else's stuff too.
Let me turn you up. Sal, could you speak for me one more time? I just want to make sure you're able to be heard.
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
This
that's
is
a lot
better?
better. Cool. I just want to make sure you're good.
Yeah.
All right.
I realized that people couldn't see us because we're in a secret channel.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, I'm trying to load your stream.
Yeah.
Oh, it's my stream. Let me restart it for you then.
Oh, gone.
Yep, I just killed it.
Yeah,
It's dead.
Okay. How's
oh,
that?
there it goes.
See a spreadsheet?
Yeah.
Hey, there we go.
I don't know if I can make the center part bigger. Full
Hmm.
screen?
I can zoom in on it. That help?
Yeah,
Yeah, you're good.
It's pretty.
I
it's
think
pretty-
that the way Discord works is that I can't.
Is it better now?
Yeah, it's better now. At least for me.
Cool. Sweet. We've got a few people. Am I an admin? No, I'm not. We got a couple people in just chatting that are ready to drag over.
Yeah. Welcome in, chat. Good to see y'all. Hope you're all having a good Easter. If you celebrate such things. Otherwise, having a good day.
For me. In Discord, can you drag the people into
Yeah,
this
yeah, yeah. Who all? Oh, okay. We're gonna pull all of them in. Hello,
Yeah.
welcome.
That's what I was thinking.
Hello, welcome, 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 welcome.
Hey, everybody.
What's up?
Hey.
Cool. All right. Let's get into it. So my hope for today is that y'all will walk away with some notes on fencing, as well as some practical experience reviewing video footage, because it's something that I've done a lot with Boomy and on my own, and it's been super helpful. And I would love to see people do it more. So let's see. Who do we have? We have Estany, Michi, Nicolasa, Buck. Let's start from the top.
Oh, hold on.
Yeah.
We got Michi. You ready to chit chat about fencing? No worries.
Yeah, let's do it.
Hell yeah.
I'm sorry, I was changing my nickname.
Yeah, you're good. All right. Yeah, let's just watch through. See what we got. So for folks that don't know, Michi is the one on the right, and then the guy on the left, his name is Julius.
Are both Julius and Michi with us this evening? I see Michi.
I don't think Julius will be.
Disco.
And feel free to let me know if you want to see something again or jump back.
Michi, what are you working on in this set? Is there anything kind of running through your mind or intention set?
Yeah, so I've fought with Julius a couple times, but this is kind of an unusual situation for him where he usually does a lot of circling and really likes to take advantage of his longer curved blade to get around your guard. So I was like really aware of that going in, but he definitely could not bring his full intentions. I'd say that my biggest focus as of recently has been on second and third intentions, although that was mostly something I started working on after this session.
Gotcha.
So I know that from a personal standpoint, my goal has been to do a better job of handling the neutral game, of like knowing when I can go in, when I can gain ground, and when I can kind of understand what my opponent's doing and work with it. So I know that for most of this fight, it was a lot of focus on keeping my feet moving, but also like trying to work with what he was giving me. Since working around his curved blade is always a bit of a struggle.
Mm-hmm. Something that I'm seeing that you're doing really well here is like putting the pressure on, is just moving forward, being aggressive.
Yeah, I like that when you say like you're moving your feet, you're moving intentionally. It's not just like extraneous movement back and forth, side to side or whatever. Because a lot of people, I'd say like a good amount of people in like the lower to intermediate level of fencing, they do a lot of movement, but they are just moving to move, right? They're not really gaining anything from it.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I'm a larger guy, so moving is always something that's I have to be more aware of it, right? Because like it takes a little bit more for the momentum to work with me, which does mean that it can be hard to keep my footwork surprising. It ends up coming across very predictable.
curved blade. But I mean, how do you like to deal with curved blades? Do they change things up for you?
No, game's
Yeah,
the same.
same game.
Yeah, same
Yeah.
game. You just have to mind the curve for a couple of slight angles, but otherwise,
Mhm.
it's kind of the same.
I
Yeah,
will
I
say,
feel like-
Julius has gotten really good at like using that curve.
Yeah.
He has.
Could you play that back and go to like, let's see, if the whole thing is 316, roughly 130-ish for me?
Yeah.
Yeah, just kind of right around there. I'll watch a little bit.
I can full screen this too.
Could you go back to like 50 for me?
Mhm.
Bounce back a little bit more. I just want to kind of look at the when I chat. What I'm personally looking at when I think about great return on investment. I try to look at all the different components of fencing. Right, it's the mechanics, the uppers, the lowers, and at least for myself, I have found that generally speaking, ground up is a great way to go in terms of kind of getting the best value out of your training time, as in like moving your feet, having stable hips, and all those things. And when I'm watching your particular fights, Michi, there are times you move really over your hips, like your hips are centered over your feet, but there's times where you lean either back because you're avoiding something, or forward because you're kind of reaching for the attack. And I think something that's well worth your effort is not giving up the like either too much weight on the front or the back until you have to. Don't use it as a starting action.
Okay.
I feel like that is something that you kind of like hear like that motion forward in that last moment. You're like
right here.
leaning onto that front foot, looking to attack, and so
Got
your
it.
weight has
So-
to go forward. It's very readable, if that makes sense. You have
Yeah,
to end
that does.
step.
So it's a lot more focused on keeping my weight positioned over my legs, and then, but kind of keeping that pocket lean in there
Yes.
to get that last extension, right?
Yes,
So,
if that and it's also it works the other direction when Julius throws at you and you're trying to avoid. The first action should be right the step back where you're still centered over your hips, as opposed to leaning first, because once you lean, you have to recover from the lean in order to then move again. And I
Right.
think that creates what feels like a vulnerability someone else might be taking a hold of.
okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yep. It honestly also helps when, especially when you have kind of more body weight that you're moving about. It's also easier on your person, right? Leaning is harder on your person the more weight you have,
Got it.
physically. So
Something else I'm noticing, and it might be because of like the space you all are in,
Oops.
but you two are both like really close to it. Like
Sal, you sound like
Yeah.
you're very far
And you're-
away.
and you're oh boy. Is that better?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Way better. We can hear you now.
Yeah, you two are like lingering in each other's measure, right? Like it's not like you're stepping in and then like doing something and then like getting clear.
Yep.
There's a lot of just like hanging out in each other's measure that I'm noticing too. And
We
again,
definitely
that might be a space thing, but
we definitely have a bad habit of that in off
Bad
where
habit
we
of it.
we start in range. Yeah.
which is why I bring it up, right?
Yeah,
because
right.
I want to see less of that. Because like here, you guys are good. Like right at the end, when you were about to like reset, you were good. But there were several times where you both were just like standing like upright, and you could have just reached out and touched the other person.
Yeah.
Man, dude, it is such a problem in Aethelmarc. Like I notice it in practices all the time, and it's just like I always like end up moving backwards, and people just follow along with me. I'm like, no, we're getting back to our starting positions here.
Yeah. The problem is it's so fun. It's where the action happens.
That's fair.
I mean, yes, but also.
Yep. Yep. They're correct. Yeah, keep in measure at like where the deep lunge can barely touch all the time
Yeah.
until you want to enter through the danger zone with some sort of control over the opponent.
I just
So-
did a
Something
ahead,
I've noticed a little bit is that there's kind of this standard deviation curve of people learning fencing, and the newer fencers, we a lot of times the kind of default is teaching like Italian, right? With your sword out, doing those deep lunges in.
Yeah.
And then as you learn more, it goes into, you get more into like the kind of, either you specialize or you're just learning how to win by whatever means necessary, right? And then it's once you get to the higher levels again, and Ferruccio does this a good amount, is that then you get back into those deep lunges and those long shots that you're not really prepared for. So I think there's kind of this big middle ground where I am and a lot of other fencers at a similar level, where we're not used to responding to those really, really deep lunges, because it's something that you either only see when you're just starting out and that's your only move, or you only see at higher levels because you're fighting people like Salvador who can lunge from 17 feet away and get a kill.
Do you feel like that's a confidence thing, that people in those mid levels don't feel confident throwing a big lunge? And so you
I
don't
think it's
see it as
less
much?
confidence. I don't think it's as much confidence. I think it's more just as you get to those middle levels, you're learning more and trying to work more movements in. So it's you try to compensate by doing a lot of different things,
Yeah.
instead of doing because when you're a beginner, you learn your lunge, your deep Italian lunge, and that gets you your kills sometimes, right? And so that's what you can rely on. But as you learn more, it's like, oh well, people know that, so I got to expand what I'm doing, and that deep lunge becomes much less common until you get to the higher levels where it comes back, because hey, it's a really effective move if you're good at
Yeah.
it.
Right.
Can I share a bit about like what I think happens with that?
Yeah, do it.
Yeah, go for
Um,
it.
I think it comes down to like, you know, when you're starting out and getting into like the intermediate levels, you're not really like super good at weighing risk versus reward, right? That super deep lunge is very risky, but it can also be very rewarding. And like the mid level fencers, I think kind of it are hesitant to like test those waters, you know, because like you can get some great kills with that deep lunge. You can also just get blasted though. Like
I think that's a big part of it. Like
Yeah.
Barbara and I have talked about this, Faye and I have talked about this, and she tries not to throw those big lunges because she's afraid of hurting people, right? Because at that level you don't necessarily have the read on the fight to be able to do it safely.
right. Yeah, I think it's a lot of risk versus reward.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying though, that like it makes sense that you end up in those middle ranges a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious to see if that plays out in your fights with Ferruccio, or if you kind of settle at further measure.
Yeah, well, so far we're definitely starting too close.
Yeah.
But Ferruccio, I think of someone who's pretty. He really likes his deep lunges. He'll go really, really deep on that.
So one thing I'm seeing like pretty immediately in these fights with Ferruccio is you are closing without like clearing the line, right?
That
So
was exactly what Nicolo talked to me about at the end of this practice.
yeah, you were coming in to close, and Ferruccio is literally just having to adjust his blade because you've not cleared it.
Yeah, that's kind of yeah. I ended up having a whole conversation with Nicolo at the end of practice, where we were kind of trying to brainstorm like how to better handle that neutral game, right? Because we have fencers who will sit there with their sword out, and you can futz around with them. You can get a good idea of what they're going to do just by having that sword presence. But then you have a lot of fencers, like people I fight against, like Robert and Salvador, who they hide their stance, right? They don't give you that opportunity to feel out what they're going to do. So it's hard to figure out how to gain that middle ground without having that sword contact, and that's something I'm still definitely working on.
You're talking about like it's hard to gain the blade or control
Right.
the line when someone's
if
refusing
you've
blade
got
contact.
Yeah, I mean, if you've got your sword pointed down at the ground because you're ready for
Yeah.
a quick up move, which is something you and I have talked about a lot.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't just reach out and play with that. That's just going to make me vulnerable.
Right.
So trying to like figure out how to win that neutral game and like give yourself safe approaches when you are having to read your opponent very directly. You have you're predicting your opponent more, right? Because you
Yeah,
can't
yeah.
have that blade on blade contact.
Something that again that we don't super train in Aethelmarc, but I see it a lot in Atlantia when I go to practice. Is they work on getting the find a lot, but like getting it without having blade contact, right? You find your opponent's blade and then you gain it as you step into measure, right? So there's a little bit of that predicting, but also at least from what I've seen fighting against like Kalen and Brian and Fern, they will find the blade before before they have contact with my blade, and then as they step in, they'll gain it in a way that is safe and advantageous for them.
How do you build that skill though? Like, how do you work on that?
I think you just have to like practice it. Like genuinely, like I think you just have to just work on like work your angles and work on placing your blade in different ways outside of measure, and then just going for it.
There's a to expand on Sal's thoughts. I absolutely agree that the safest way to play this game is that you first attack the opponent's blade and you deal with that. That's the thing that's going to kill you, and then you deal with them. And regardless of the height differential or the length differential between two combatants, their blade will always be accessible to you. Right? They're going to try to extend their blade at you. That is necessarily there, if that makes sense. And so I fully believe in the practice of dealing with their blade. You can deal with it with some sort of mechanics, right? You're taking your blade to lock them to the inside or lock them to the outside, or you're taking your dagger, doing the same thing, high, low, whatever it is. It's mechanically, or you can deal with them by causing them to do an action, right? Any sort of feint to disengage is causing their blade to be tied up in time and in space.
Right.
And so that's a very wide net that I'm stating. That this is going to be very specific to the individual and the context in which you're fighting. But that is generally the idea of dealing with the blade. It is you deal with it in time and space, or you deal with it mechanically. Hopefully that helps.
Yeah, I like that phrasing of if you get them to react, even if it's something that you're having to deal with, it's still creating this kind of separation in time, right? Like it's we talk about things in terms of tempo and how like it does take time for the sword to move, so that is an opportunity to react or to make an effect.
Exactly. Yep. And then the mechanics can be like beats and glides and locking them out in on outside or inside or whatever.
Well, Michi, do you want to look at our fight with you and me as well?
If you'd like to, I'm here as long as you guys want to.
Yeah, let's do it.
Talk.
Yeah, let's do it. See what we got. Assuming it'll play. My web browser's frozen. That's interesting.
I see.
Did you go to
Right,
downloadmoreram.com?
I might need to download more RAM.
Have you tried deleting System 32?
Let me close my Chrome real quick. I've been thinking about switching to another web browser because I've been having so much issues with Chrome recently.
Opera GX plan.
However, will you make a custom Opera GX for all of us to use?
Yeah, I got you. It'll have fencing videos embedded so you can watch them at all times.
I just want Salvador to make noises whenever I open a tab.
If you think I know how to do any of that, you're crazy. I work at an elementary school.
Okay, let me get my screen back.
Hey,
up
don't
here.
sell yourself short. You're a vice principal.
There we go.
Go live. Okay, can you guys see my screen again?
Yes.
Yes.
Cool. Okay.
So, unfortunately, this is still from the same practice before I had a chance to consult with my mod.
All right, here we go. Oops.
I'm pretty sure
Something?
Was that? Right after, so I was just commenting on. I'm pretty sure we talked about this practice right after it happened.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, you.
Robert, could you elaborate on what happened?
I suspect that what happened is I whacked him on the head with the blade and was demonstrating that visual.
Yeah. So
Um,
this is something that I had been struggling with a lot. And Robert, I think comments on it in this video is that sometimes he drops his blade down, and I tense up
Right
because I have
there.
no idea how to handle it.
yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that after this whole bout, we literally had a whole conversation about how to handle it and how to kind of, because the conclusion was basically to trust the dagger.
That
Did you-
dagger adjustment that you told me about, Boomy, I had
Oh,
told him
good,
about.
good, good. I was going to say, if you can show the
Yeah.
dagger low and how to cover and force to the outside,
Yeah.
that's the way to fix the
that's
low guard.
exactly what we had talked about.
Good,
and
good, good.
so I've been focusing on that.
Exactly
'cause
that.
it's-
What you're doing
It's a
right there
tough
is already
adjustment.
better.
Yeah.
Look at
It
Nicola.
it is a weird and yeah, it is such an adjustment, and I find myself having to make it when I fight against like
There we
Robert because Robert throws that like low shot that murdered at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when we were fighting, like you were really pressing me at first, and then I dropped my sword, and the pressure just like disappeared.
Yeah, I just had no idea how to handle it. And yeah, it's a lot of just that I'm at a point where I'm having to learn how to respond to specific movements or specific stances.
That was a really good shot.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's the conversation, I think. Maybe not. At some point in this video, we do stop and chat about it, I think.
Yeah,
It's
we might
okay.
have earlier, or
That
that might have been when you first noticed it.
That happens later in a video with Giovanni and I.
Yeah.
We talk about like guards and like
Robert, can you rewind by like 10 seconds? Yeah.
Yeah.
Michi, if you watch your... So I've noticed a habit that you have. You like
Okay.
to attack, and then you see how you just pulled your front foot back?
Yep,
That-
this
like, you-
was
you have
exactly
a
something
huge
that
habit
Salvador
of
and I
that.
talked about.
Mhm.
We had a whole conversation. So again, I did a stint of like 3 or 4 practices over the course of like a week, and Salvador showed up halfway through those and was giving me some coaching. And that was something that he noticed and specifically asked me to work on in later practices that are not.
Yeah, you did it
recorded.
again right there. Yeah. 100%. That is a... What it tells me is that you're standing a little tall. You should have a little
Okay.
bit more potential energy in your knees, so staying a little bit lower. And when you
Okay.
when you take a retreat step, it is more, it is quicker to push off of that front foot, as opposed to stand more upright and drag the foot. If that makes
Gotcha.
sense.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yep, I saw it there.
So,
pop
and you
up.
do this very consistently. It's been in this video maybe a dozen times so far that I've counted.
Okay.
And it's something
Yeah.
it causes you to stand more upright. And when someone sees
Okay.
you stand more upright, what it means is they can attack without you leaping away because you don't have as much potential energy stored without that slight bend in your knee.
Got it. Okay.
Yep.
That's
If you look at
something I
Robert's
thought about.
knees throughout this fight, there's more angle all the time.
Yeah.
yeah, you are standing pretty straight legged.
Yeah, especially that
take a
front
moment.
leg. Really more than the back.
I want to take a moment and give us a gold star for starting outside of measure.
Yeah.
You two have had
Almost
some
nothing.
really good like exchanges too. I've been watching
Yeah.
them. Oh, these are pretty. They look pretty like salad.
Yeah.
Sound.
Michi gave me a tough fight in this set. It was good.
It was a good set. Yeah, so on that topic of retreating, similarly, Salvador and I had a whole conversation about how, like, if you make an attack and you retreat back afterwards, all you've done is expended energy to take to create space and then not capitalized on it.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where
So-
second intention comes in.
Right. And so actually, I guess it was Arxcally's practice, like a few days later, that was like all I was doing is I was just drilling second intentions and honestly kicking a little bit of butt that day. It was nice.
Nice.
But yeah, just basically the idea of like when you create space, use it. Don't just immediately give it up. So, but similarly, it sounds like just kind of surprise, surprise, working on footwork, but specifically working on staying mobile and using kind of keeping that potential energy in my knees is definitely something I can work on.
Yep.
Yeah, I like it. Oops. Switch back. Cool. That's the last video we got from y'all. Any final thoughts before we jump on to the next one?
Yeah, I
right.
really appreciate you guys doing this, and I
Yeah.
look forward to the rest of the reviews.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for
Thank you.
cool. Let me see who we got in the call.
I think we have a good day.
Yeah, do we have Jan in here?
I don't know if Yana's in here.
I don't know if I thought Jan was gonna come. We'll get to that one later. Let me see here. Who else? I think we have Frederikus in here. Yeah, let's do Frederikus.
Federico is in here.
Frederikus, you ready?
Yeah, I am. If you want to do the one that where my sister is, I can run and grab her. She just didn't want to have both of us in Graham Discord call in the same room.
Yeah, totally. Okay, let's. Why don't we do this one and then we'll jump into that one next.
I will say thanks for reaching out and inviting me to this. This has been insightful watching the Michi stuff as well. And yeah, Michi was locked in during Dark Scully's.
That's good to hear. Cool. All right, I'm excited to see this set. I remember we went pretty even.
I disagree. I think you would be.
You think so? Okay, we'll see. We'll see. So I'm the one on the right here, and Frederikus is on the left. For anyone that doesn't know.
Is two-handed your primary?
Yes.
Cool.
I have been trying to work the other ones, but it is still my primary.
Do you also play cut and thrust?
No, actually. I've had too many concussions. It's not a good idea for me right now.
Gotcha. Okay.
That was such a smooth transition from like a tail guard to like a low, yeah, like a low fool. That was a really smooth transition.
Yeah, I was admiring that too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I had asked Robert to thoroughly whoop me for these ones because he mentioned it should be against some serious opponents. So.
Yeah, Bimi, that's a question I'm curious your take on.
Mhm.
What sort of fight do you think is ideal for review? Is it someone who's way better than you? Someone who's a little bit better than you? Like,
A
what do you look
fight
for?
that's ideal for me?
For reviewing.
For reviewing.
Oh, for reviewing. Oh. I think if I had to pick something, it would be bringing your best when you're not tired.
Okay. So, regardless of the opponent.
Because the answer to if I'm tired and these bad things happen, it means work on the ability to not be as tired as quickly.
Yeah.
Right. Like that's a
Right.
straightforward answer.
Okay. So, no preference between someone who's at your level versus much higher?
Oh, as far as the opponent is concerned, I think whomever brings out a good fight, right? Like what you would bring to a tournament fight, like when you
Cool.
mean to when you're not kind of like dorking around, when you're like, I'm trying to win.
So one of the things I do want to kind of pick on right here, maybe that's not the best way to say it, but I'm noticing a lot of, so we were talking about with Michi, we were talking about like movement that was not extraneous. I'm noticing a little bit of that here, Frederikus. You're doing a lot of like foot movement that doesn't really like you're doing a lot of like shifting your weight and stuff like that when you don't necessarily need to be. Which it's not terrible, but like in the long run, it'll help you conserve some energy.
Agreed.
And longsword is a pretty energy intensive form, as you know.
Yeah.
And so, like, conserving as much energy as you can is going to be pretty beneficial for you.
I will say that is definitely a nerves thing. When you see me fight people who I am not nearly as, say, intimidated by, I am a lot more calm. This is me, like, I definitely do that whenever I'm fighting someone like Robert, like Sal, where I'm like, okay, stay amped, stay moving, don't be complacent. My mind's running a mile a minute. So
Right.
that's a good
I get that.
note of
It's definitely good to kind of like maybe not train it out entirely, but definitely like it's good that you're aware of that, right? Nice.
Yeah, I think you get me on this one.
The slowest exchange there.
The slow exchange.
Yeah. No, we lose the thing. Let me jump back a little bit. Were there any particular ones that y'all wanted to take a closer look at?
My first watch through impression is the hip switching, like switching which foot is your lead. Usually, in my observation of fighting, and take this with a grain of salt that I'm not a longsword player. I've only done a little bit of greatsword or longsword in my career, but is usually built in with cuts. And it's often against a longsword opponent, right? The ability to cut through their blade. Turning this into a fencing match is just a harder thing to utilize those cutting motions because they're relatively speaking slower than a disengage and a thrust.
That
you
is
find
So
really true.
I feel like what Sal was saying with like saving your energy and kind of keeping, because you look like you would prefer your left hand at the pommel and feel comfortable with that you would keep your left hand forward and play more at range because you have a slightly longer blade than your opponent in this context.
Mm-hmm. Frederikus, do you find so I feel like there's left hip forward and right hip forward stance are kind of what you're switching between. Do you find that there are different techniques that you prefer in each of those stances?
So he is entirely right when it talks about like slashes, because I am trying to emulate a little bit of Fiore and a lot more German longsword.
Sure.
And a lot of those hip switching is basically me deciding which angle I want to initiate a slash from. Because a lot of time, the slashes do more energy, but they're often like the initiators to an attack chain because they give me more options to parry from. Because the longsword, when I drop it down to thrust at you, I'm losing a lot of my defense. By initiating slashes, I am keeping my defense up until I turn into a thrust.
Yeah, so when you say dropping it down, you mean like sending that thrust forward, like in here, right?
Yes. And that's a lot of the times when you kill me is whenever I actually try to attack you and you're able to parry me and then come in and kill me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that one of the biggest things that is very, I guess, kind of hard for our game, unless you're fighting longsword versus longsword, is typically when you're doing longsword, your cuts are also your parries, right? Mm-hmm. So you are cutting to position yourself into another one of like one of your guards, right? So you want to cut, but you want to end in a guard, and then you want to be able to cut again into another guard, and that's really weird when you are trying to fight against a thrust heavy like rapier, right?
Donan calls it Krumpau, the stroke of wrath. The idea is you're cutting hard, presenting an immediate threat, forcing your opponent to meet you in blade contact, in which you have the leverage to win, and then you're trying to kill them.
Right. Well, like a Krumpau is a specific cut in longsword, right?
It is, but it was more of an example of what I'm talking about in a specific sense.
Okay. Yeah. Because the Krumpau is one of the like the Meisterhau or like the master cuts, right? But yeah, that's a really good way to look at it. Something else I'm noticing is you were like crossing your feet like a good amount, and that can kind of hinder your ability to like move backwards.
When you say crossing, do you mean laterally or in a linear fashion?
So if Frederikus is in his neutral guard, right, his back foot is going like way behind his front foot, but like laterally, right? I think I said that right. I had to stand up and like talk myself through it. But if you go back in the video, I don't have like a specific time, but
yeah, I'll just like jump back, play through. Let me know where you're gonna stop.
Like right there, you see how his feet crossed like a ton?
Okay, yeah.
And like it didn't do it there, but like right there, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of like his feet are not. I don't know. It hurts my ankles. like there.
Are you just talking about passing steps?
Yeah, but they're Not really. No. So like his
Over
right there.
here. Yeah,
Yeah.
cross
You
behind.
see that?
Yeah, it's a lateral
Yeah,
cross
yeah,
as opposed to linear
Interesting.
like switch.
Yeah.
Yeah, right there. It happened again.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I do that too.
So you're saying like stay more square when you switch front and back foot, as opposed
Yeah.
to
Well,
allowing
I
cross
mean,
middle
and
line.
I know for a longsword you want to be more square.
Mhm.
It's just like, I don't know, maybe it just looks different to me because I try not to do a lot of that because I feel like when I do that and then I try to back up, I just get like tangled in my
Yes,
own
yeah,
legs.
yeah, you do.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So,
It's antithetical to like thrust
Mhm.
first weapons typically.
Yeah.
I think if I had to give you a quick improvement on for your training, that I think would gain you a lot of result is specifically figuring out how to do glides and beats using the leverage that you have with
Oh,
that
yeah.
weapon.
Yeah.
I think that the two-handed weapon has significantly better leverage for bullying someone else's blade. And instead
When
of
you-
cutting through a space, I would place and glide. Like you could fling Robert's sword
Yeah.
clean out of his
Out of
hand
it.
with a good glide with one of those weapons.
Yeah. When you say glide, is that like when you put your sword against it and then you like impulse through your wrists?
Yeah, it's a
and shove it
glissant, I think in Italian, but it's essentially a whipping motion, almost like whipping a wet towel. That kind of
Mhm.
movement, but steel on steel, and like
Yeah.
I have watched good players essentially throw your like as a right-handed player, Robert.
Yeah.
Like you would throw your blade to the right and kind of fling
Yeah.
out of your hands like you're disarming somebody,
Right.
with that sort of force.
Do you press from underneath on the inside? Is that kind of what you're thinking?
Yeah, exactly. You take the
Yeah.
inside. You just set up in a way that you're really taking advantage of the fact that you have two hands on
Yeah.
a handle that's longer. Really.
I would be really curious to see that in your game. Next time we practice together, let's play around
Yeah,
with
I would
that.
say play with it. Yeah, see if you can essentially disarm somebody. Like throw their blade such that their tip is buried in the
Yeah.
ground behind them, and then use that tempo to attack, as opposed to trying to intercept cuts in space. I don't think it is easy to beat the speed of a disengage on a rapier.
yeah.
Mhm.
It's such a fast
Uh,
action.
Something I want to steal from Robert is I want to give you a gold star, Frederikus, for your like your commitment to like longsword is great. Because longsword is definitely not the easiest form to use, and it is even harder to use when you were fighting people with like thrust heavy rapiers. So, yeah, good job.
I mean,
Super
it's
job.
just fun, man.
Yeah.
Every new Orc Cully Spencer that picks up a longsword for the first time, I always give them that warning of you're gonna get Dunning-Krugered because longsword is like a skill check for newbies. It's very oppressive because it doesn't fight the same
Yeah.
against for newer fencers because it doesn't fight the same. But then the moment someone like a more experienced fencer figures it out, you get like this big drop off in terms of your actual effectiveness, and it can be discouraging. So I try and give them a heads up.
Chat. Who do
Nice.
you think is like the a representative of a very good longsword fighter in the context of the SCA? I was like, I don't know enough about the form, and
So
not
we
in
have-
cut thrust, in rapier specifically, in heavy rapier.
Not me.
Yeah, not me either. We have one who's really good at the debatable ends, the Pittsburgh practice. Have you met Yornder, Boomy? Do you know him?
Maybe by Kit, but not the
Yeah.
name offhand.
Yeah.
He's probably the best rapier fighter, like rapier rules longsword fighter I know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Yeah, Yornder's very, very solid
Solid.
when
Cool.
it comes to.
Maybe we can pull up some of their footage and see what you can kind of pull from them.
Yeah, we should get footage. We should definitely get footage of Yornder. I don't know if I have any on hand.
I don't, but
Do you know, Sal? Do you know if we have footage of my last QRC win, the finals? Because that would be good footage to review with him.
Let me check the
Yeah.
one place that I think would have it.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to our next video. Robert, do you want to go get Abby, and we'll get to her after the next one?
Yes, I'll go grab her.
Okay. Faye, are you ready to jump in?
For the advice, it was very insightful.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Let me go check if Faye is ready. She's in the other room.
I don't know if this video is private or not. I know so much about longsword in theory.
When I think longsword, I really only think Will Death for like very competent in the context of the SCA heavy rapier community.
Mm-hmm.
But that's like a very specific, unique to death. That's not a.
Type. Yeah.
She's gonna be bumping in just chatting soon.
Okay.
Back.
Hey, chat. This is a great time. If you want to avoid commercials, you can sub with your Prime. It costs you nothing. That goes for you, Robert.
Yeah,
If you have
I actually
Amazon
canceled. No, I canceled my Amazon Prime because
Prime. Totally get it.
mega corporations.
Oh,
Let's jump into some of the videos with Faye. She's, I think, ready to go. Let's start. We have 3 here.
yeah. That's it.
Kind of a mix of other intermediates and one of our newest mods. This is one. This here is Jan.
Jan and Faye. Cool.
Yep, Jan and Faye on the left. Yep.
Do we have Jan in chat? I see your Faye.
I don't think so.
I haven't seen Jan.
Someone
Yeah, I
can
don't know
clip
if
it
he's
and
gonna
send it
make
to
his
them. Send it to them.
Yeah.
Oh,
Happy birthday.
Here, I'm gonna send it to you on Facebook, Robert.
What do you got?
It looks like it's you versus Urinder in QRC. I don't know if
Oh,
it's
sick.
all of it, but it looks like Urinder's holding a longsword.
Cool.
No, not the Robsonator. That's not
Mhm.
Robert. That's Abby.
I think I can copy what Salvador was saying to Michi, that it looks like you and Jan are starting in range a bit, and also the like closing without controlling your opponent's blades.
Jan is also not an easy fight. Jan is
No, absolutely not.
so good. But
Oh,
Oop.
half.
your video cut out.
Oh, I tapped out for a
This is
second.
just a short. Oh, okay.
Just checking on Discord. Does it cut out if I do that? Is it keeping going?
Nope.
No. Okay, good to know. Faye, can you speak for us? I'm not sure if your mic is coming through.
Here.
There we go.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Hi.
Hello.
I like starting in measure. It's bad habit because it's more fun.
It is just the most fun.
It makes something happen.
It really does. I think that is a good point. It really does force the fight to like start, right?
One thing I'm noticing that you've done the last 2 attacks is your attacks tend to come with these big steps, and I wonder if you'd have more success making smaller steps, so you have a bit more control of your movement as you're going in.
Mm-hmm.
Seems reasonable.
I do like your footwork though. It's very like it's not a lot of the I don't want to call it like worthless movement, but you know,
Noise.
yeah, like the
Mhm.
just the moving to move.
Yeah.
Yeah. You,
I'll definitely do it though.
Mm.
So like with the worthless movement, or you know, like the dancing steps, I sometimes mimic how other people are moving because I'm like, ooh, they like this. Okay.
Something I am noticing that I like is you and I've seen it a couple of times. Like you all will, do the exchange, and someone will get hit, but like your guard like stays up, even like when you're like going to reset, your guard is like still up. So I really like that because that prevents, those it lowers the potential for like a double or jeez.
Fantastic.
Nice. Yeah, I really like the guard. Like your defense, you're keeping your defense up. I really like that.
Nice.
Thank you.
Could you run that back for me?
Yeah, whole thing.
Yeah. The this footwork chat for those watching and those in Discord. This is the footwork we were talking about with Faye and the green on the left side, where they're keeping good kinetic energy, like potential energy, by keeping a little bit lower hips, right, a little bit more bend in the knees, and they're taking small steps, kind of advanced steps and retreat steps, pushing off the back to advance and pushing off the front to retreat. I think if I had to give two quick pieces of advice for a good return on your investment, the first one would be your dagger. Your dagger tends to move past where you need it to be to stop a blade from moving to touch you, if that makes sense. Like you're pushing their blade like a foot and change up and past your head, as opposed to the discipline to keep your dagger exactly at the edge of where their blade is. And that's something I would play with. Let someone
So you're
extend.
saying that I'm like, it's too big of a movement that
Absolutely.
I'm
You
doing.
watch your left hand.
Okay.
It punches up and out several times, and it is a consistent. You're hunting for that particular parry. Especially right, like those examples of where the kind of your fist ends up kind of above your mask.
Mm-hmm.
And it's habit. Everybody does it to some extent.
Yeah.
But it is part of the work is disciplining yourself to understand that if I am keeping measure where everything's in straight lines, I only need to push their blade off of my body line by 1/2 inch to 1 inch. Right? That's all you really need. And that will really create more efficiency in your movement to allow your dagger to then flip down as necessary. When I train dagger, I tend to teach people to keep their fist a little bit more forward and flip up and down, as opposed to kind of punching up through the shoulder, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that does make sense. I appreciate it.
Yeah. The second thing, and I think the great value for yourself, is that you have such great footwork starting. But when you go through the interaction, if you watch your own torso, you raise several inches, as opposed to staying a little bit lower. Which, when you're a little bit lower, you have the opportunity to jump forward, you have the opportunity to jump back. But when you stand up right, then you have to lower yourself to then move quickly again. And that's a very common habit. That's everybody, when they get spooked, they stand upright. For yourself, it's not necessarily when you get spooked, but I'm also seeing it when you aggress. You will create an offensive sequence and then stand a little bit more upright. Like right there, you were upright, even though you won the exchange and did great. But you ended up more upright, where your knees are kind of locked out. And I would keep that bend in your knees, like right there. You see how you stood up? Just trying to discipline yourself to stay low all the time, and not extending at the legs, because that causes you to have to commit a little bit more time to lower yourself before exploding again. And honestly, I'm picking on this is what I think takes somebody from intermediate into advanced, is looking at those tightening up those actions. You're at the point where, like, watching you're an experienced fighter from the looks of it, and the goal is to try to shave some of the larger movements into more refined movements at this point in the journey. So kind of picking on those first and foremost. At least that's my take on it.
So then thank you. No, I'm here to receive feedback in a space where I'm not already fighting. I find it really hard to take in feedback while I'm fighting. So
Yes,
this is
absolutely.
awesome for me. So thank you.
Yeah. footage review is so good. I do it all the time. It does not lie, and it shows you your strengths and your weaknesses. And all of us are only ever chasing perfection. You don't really ever reach it.
I really like that like self like realization too, that like you do better with like review when it's afterwards and not during, because I feel like the SCA breeds an environment of giving that immediate like feedback. I'm seeing into the
Oh, yeah, sorry.
Into the void.
I want to keep tabs on the chat.
Yeah, no, I like that you were like, nah, I want feedback in a space that it is like post the action, because I don't know, I feel like more people should ask for that.
Yeah, I think I've just noticed that my adrenaline is too high when I'm fighting, and it's hard for me to get into that mode anyway for fighting. And so, yeah, yes, thank you.
Boomy, can you pull in Abby from just chatting?
Yep. Done.
Sweet. Hey, Abby.
Hello, Abby.
We're gonna do another one of yours.
Oh, I have a dumb question.
Hi.
1 second.
Hello.
Hi, Abby.
Is this? So we have both parties in chat. So we need to watch this a couple of times. Chat
I
for
was
what
dealing
it,
with a technical issue. Okay.
I was saying for what it is worth, chat. When I watch footage for myself, I have to watch it a few times because usually I'm looking at my lowers, right? I'm looking at my footwork, my hip positioning, my balance in one playthrough, and then I'm watching my hands and my uppers in another playthrough, and then often I will use those two things to kind of frame by frame moments where I don't know exactly what's happening. I'm like, what happened in that interaction? How do I parse it? And what can I be better from that parsing?
I like that. I feel like sometimes when I watch footage, I don't really know what to look for, and I like that like balance, uppers, lowers.
Yeah, it's really good. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's kind of like a good workout regimen, right? Where it's like, all right, the first couple of playthroughs, I'm gonna look at specifically this, like the isolation part, and then move to a different area completely. I feel like that it provides a more complete like package of review.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, let's jump into this one. We got Abby on the right and Faye on the left.
Come with some buckler, heck yeah.
Yeah, I like this off the buckler.
Nice second intention there.
Yeah, that was really good.
Also, gold star for starting outside of measuring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there it is. Also, I'm liking the buckler position right now. A lot of people, when they are especially newer to buckler, they will hold it like right against their chest, right? But you were holding it out and providing yourself with like a really solid cone.
Yep.
So kudos there.
Thank you.
This is a tangent, by the way, but that buckler is magical. I used it at practice, and it's awesome. It's so light.
It's aluminum, it weighs nothing.
Like my perfect buckler.
Is this at 100 or is this like 75, 80?
I'm at 75 right now.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Do we like it at 75 or preference at 100?
I would like to watch it at 100 if you don't mind.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
to see the I mean, we can go back and look at the timestamps.
Oh, Niccolo.
Death. Death all around. Yeah, in contrast with one another, I believe Faye is keeping more potential energy, whereas Abby seems to be inconsistent. Sometimes very upright and straight legs, but sometimes with that potential energy, with that bend in the knees to be able to throw. It is worth sinking your hips for just a couple inches. It's not a crazy amount, just a little bit, to always have that potential energy stored to move forward or retreat as necessary.
Yeah. So you're always ready to go.
Yeah, that very straight front leg, I think, could be just slight angle. Right here is way better.
Like here.
There, right there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like what you just did there, though, where you were, I do a lot of that where I'll throw a shot and then leave my blade there and just throw like another shot. I think that has a lot of potential for good things, right? So I like seeing that you're doing that, Abby, because that's super deadly.
Yeah, you have good second intentions here. You're seeing that a lot here. Like throwing a shot and then immediately following up with another one.
Yeah.
What's up?
Oh, good snipe.
I said Abby is one of my tougher fights.
Yeah, she's really solid. Like you both are really solid fighters.
Thank you.
I fought Abby at the last BMDL practice I was at. I fought with Abby, and yeah, she was definitely like giving me the business. So
Thank you.
yeah.
It's been really fun watching them and our other like mid-level fencers really come into there in the last couple months.
Abby, are you a single sword primary? Like that's the form you prefer?
Yes.
Cool. Do you have a sport background? Like dance or gymnastics or anything?
I did track and ballet.
Track and ballet, okay.
Sports.
Oh, that makes so much sense.
I was looking it looked like dancing movement out of the legs and hips.
You move like similarly to me, and I also have a ballet background, and so like I was like, it's all coming together.
That makes so much sense. I literally never put that together with your fencing style.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
No, well, last Volcani, Julius asked my brother, Federicus, if I did ballet.
Yeah.
I was like, he could just tell immediately.
You can see it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. So we've gone through it all. I'm gonna just run it as we talk.
Do you all have some thoughts on your best return on investment? I can go after.
Yeah, I feel like what we were saying about Abby, your footwork is good. I think you would benefit from like keeping that crouch stance, that just like knees bent a little bit, and possibly narrowing your stance just a little bit. Your legs are a little wide here, and I think you might be able to move more quickly, change directions with a more centered, slightly closer together stance.
Okay.
I think if you turned your shoulders a bit more so that the one like your arm holding your sword is a bit more forward as well, because there are a couple of shots that you're throwing where you're coming up like just short, right? And so I think the turning your shoulders just a little bit can help you get just those inch and a half that you like need to connect.
Yeah.
One thing I'm seeing that's great is you're keeping pretty upright. I imagine that's coming from your ballet background.
Gold star for communication. I'm gonna throw that one out. I love. Yes, more combatant talking. More communicating about the bout.
For same-sided matchups, this is for everybody in chat. Could you pause it for a second? I'm going to switch to face cam for just a second.
Yeah.
For same-sided matchups, if you take your foot and place it on the outside of their foot, right? So let's see, in phase. Okay, so go ahead and switch back to that video for me. If they took one step to their right, the person on the left taking one step to their right, just by a little bit. Yeah, exactly that. It would give you an angle to attack from the outside. As in, my blade would be able to, from the outside, push inward on top of their blade. That is something that if you are fighting against a left-handed person as a righty, or vice versa, whenever you're matched, this is probably the easiest way to gain advantage immediately. Just always have your foot outside of theirs, and you do this shuffle where both of you end up at the list fence on, if you're the righty on your right side, if you're the lefty on your left side.
Because you're each shifting that way.
Absolutely. And it's just like you extend over top of their blade, gain just like you would gain any other blade, just from the outside in, and then you attack through. Hopefully that makes sense for those in chat. Let me know if you need more elaboration. I'll throw it back to Robert.
And the thing you're talking about is where you're both like kind of shooting for each other's lead arm or shoulder.
Yeah, just gaining. Well, you don't even have to shoot off of that. It's more like force the disengage off of that, right? So if your blade is, because I have a lot of folks who they come up and ask like, hey, I'm fighting a lefty, what do I do?
Yeah. And
usually it is let's have a fixed starting point of let's gain some advantage, see what they do from there. If they let you bully them, steal that line, kill them. If they immediately disengage, now you attack the inside line, or you follow their disengage and then kill them, right? That kind of becomes your option from there. But there is no reason to cede that angle. It's better to fight for it from a fencing perspective.
Cool. I think that's all I got. Do y'all have any more commentary before we move on? Tweet?
I don't really.
Cool.
For this, yeah.
Alrighty.
I'd love you. Please go somewhere. Sorry, I'm talking to my cat.
All right, we got one more with Faye. This is with Nicolo, one of our newest members of the Order of Defense in Aethelmarc. Oh my gosh, my browser again.
I'm in more RAM.
Yeah, I literally just added more RAM, and I think I'm not out of RAM. I really just need to stop using Chrome. Give me a sec to pull this back out.
Oh, F.
Just download more RAM. Yeah. Okay, wait, put the stream back out.
I have found for my Chrome, I have to turn off all extensions for it to work well. Extensions cause the nonsense for me.
Yeah, I do have my Pinterest extension and whatever this thing is.
It's like when Chrome updates and the extensions don't update, and then they get mad at each other software-wise.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
That's what I have found is my problem. Are you going to show everybody your extensions?
Yeah, it's literally just Pinterest and this plugin I have for YouTube that hides everything. Okay. All right, so on the left here we have Nicolo, like I was saying.
Nicolo fighting a very technically sound Italian.
Oh, we have Jan joining us as well.
Oh, nice, Jan. Yep.
Oh, nice, Jan. I was not ready for the camera to move there. I was like, whoa.
Faye, do you feel like you approach the fight with Nicolo differently? Like, does he intimidate you?
brings a good energy, so like that there's a playfulness to it, but I am feeling like I'm noticing some more nervous feet.
Yeah.
This is a great example of a time you could just abuse the fact that they're using their left hand, as opposed to reaching across with your dagger, which is, I think, against a matched weapon, it is you're better served using your sword because it's already there on that side. If that makes sense, it's a straighter.
Is that step to the right you were talking about?
Correct. Just start with that slight. It's not even a step. It's just like start with your right foot slightly outside of theirs, and then take the angle inward. I'd have to elaborate with like positioning on a video as opposed to. I feel like words don't do that angle justice.
Yeah, I think I have an idea what you're talking about. I'm gonna play around with it with some of our lefty fencers.
Now I'm gonna play around with it at Blackstone.
Hell yeah.
See what happens.
Yep, that's a good way to phrase it. You line up where your toes line up with the outside of their foot. Good retreat steps. Just matching that measure is really nice.
Oh, I like that you continued your attack there. Like Niccolo took the arm, but you continued the press, right? You didn't just give up like halfway through. Because I know sometimes when people get hit in like the arm, they'll be like, huh, and they stop the movement entirely. I like that you kept going with that attack.
Just bringing the bloodlust.
Yeah. There will be blood shed.
I definitely just apologized to a fighter today because I was like, hey, you totally got me, but I just wanted to finish the exchange. Just wanted to finish the movement.
You totally got me. I just wanted to bonk you.
Yeah, maybe that's like a revenge shot, but
Revenge.
Nice.
Nice.
Cool. I don't think I have any additional notes.
I could give two quick ones. First is right now your offensive kit looks like kind of jabs with the sword, if that makes sense. And I think a way to get somebody like your current opponent likes to flip dagger high and low. You can step forward, presenting your blade without jabbing it forward, so they don't actually catch your blade, and then disengage low, like drop it to the belly. If that makes sense, as opposed to extending your blade with every aggressive, offensive step forward.
So
Second,
you're talking about putting a little bit of space, like your feet move, and then
you're just triggering the dagger and then disengaging immediately, knowing that they're good at defending high, because what they're not doing is covering the low line. So I would, if I could do it, I would step forward, with my blade already in position, just without moving my blade at all, based on your starting guard, and then drop it low, knowing their dagger blade is going to flip upward to defend. I think the only other thing that I think would be a really big return on your investment would be right now you are 100% defense with your dagger and 100% offense with your sword. It is my personal belief that your sword is 50-50. It's roughly half your defense and half offense. And your dagger is roughly 100% defense minus the times that measure gets wonky and they're able to close in on you.
So you're saying use the sword more defensively?
Yeah, there's essentially no sword-to-sword contact as an initiation. But it is very let's get dagger on sword in order to then attack with my sword. But sometimes you can just tap their sword and kill them. That's a very viable, because you've got good footwork already. So if you imagine you step forward, their blade is presented, you just literally beat the blade, their blade as it's coming out, you just kill them up the center. It's a very viable.
I like it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Straightforward attack, and it works very well.
Does that? I feel like that works especially against presented blades, right?
Exactly. If their blade is presented, you can especially because your tip sits a little bit higher. You have gravity on your side. To as it drops, it hits their blade goes out of line, and you immediately throw off of that. So it's using your blade against their blade, and not just trying to make it a dagger to blade consistently.
That is another thing that I think is like an Aethelmarc staple. There are a couple of things that I see Aethelmarc do a lot of, and one of them is using that dagger a lot more than the sword, right? Like we use our swords almost, or we try to use our swords almost 100% for offense.
Right.
And I've just noticed that a lot with Aethelmarc fencers too.
When you go down, you imagine like you were talking about Fern and Kaylin. Right, they're using their sword to initiate contact because it's the longer thing. Mm-hmm. And they're like that initiation of contact is what they're playing off of to like gain the step and control.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have some interesting things to work on with them this week.
Alrighty, Buck, are you ready? I think we got you up next. Hell yeah, let's get it. Buck is from the Middle Kingdom. You're up in Brandoken?
Yes.
Cool.
Dope.
I'm on the left.
Yeah.
Cool.
The guy on the right is Bronzewing. His name's Miles.
Miles.
Or what's his SE name? That's his real name, sorry.
Baltzer.
Baltzer.
That was a proper copy paste. Like, let me try the Fabris here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love it.
He's been working on that recently, and it's been scary because he's a little too good at it for being new to it.
Miles is pretty good. I'm not even gonna like.
He was on champs for a reason.
Yeah.
Is he a champ? Nice.
Like fought champs at Pennsic last year. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, he gives me a really hard fight whenever I get the chance.
I don't have like a tough time with like rapier against him, but he gives me the business for cut and thrust. It's insane.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's his thing, yeah.
Yeah.
Can you rewind 2 seconds or 10 seconds now? And then frame by frame. Yep. Just something I want to point out to all of chat. When you get spooked, everybody stands up. That includes the best of the best, regardless of rank. If you watch the interaction of Buck here on the left, watch this. This is how humans stand up when they feel, oh shit, I fucked up, I'm gonna die. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
This is normal for everybody. Don't feel bad that it happens to you. Everybody, it happens to the best of the best. Like, I promise that happens in footage for myself.
I can immediately think of a video of me doing it that I could show you.
Yeah, I was like, if I can draw it out of Robert and Sal, I feel pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I pull that, I bring that up because one of the things, Buck, that you're not doing is stepping back, because you're starting out in this beautiful, like, you're low, your hips are square, you're centered forward back in terms of your weight distribution, but you're not taking that step back to give yourself time to process and respond. I think that as you are starting off fighting, one of the best things you can do in your fight game, aside from working on footwork in terms of weight distribution and being kind of light on your feet, is taking a step back and parrying. Just that alone. As your opponent is advancing on you, you are kind of planted and trying to duke it out there, as opposed to taking a step back, giving yourself room to respond. Like right there, where you took a step back, it was way, way better. It was much cleaner as a response. Hopefully that makes sense.
That makes sense, because I was wondering why I was having so many issues with defense, because I double a lot. Robert knows this.
We doubled like 4 times the last time we fought.
Yep. Step back, parry, and riposte. And for those in chat, like, fighting is a very ebb and flow thing. If you watch two good fighters, there should be a lot of interaction where you step forward, you step back, you step forward, you step back, and no one dies because everyone did exactly what they should and defended themselves first and attacked the opponent's weapons. Chat's asking, is Buck in Twitch chat? I don't know.
I can look at it. Yeah.
Also, I'm sorry about the floor. That I can see how much both of you are sliding. That looks
Yeah,
terrible.
that gym.
That makes me
floor.
cringe on the inside. 'Cause I know
Oh
it's
yeah,
bad.
so both of us are wearing like street shoes
Mhm.
when we normally fight in different shoes as well. So
Yeah.
we're both having a bit of a time because this is like practice had pretty much been over, and he showed up like,
Mhm.
"Hey," and I was like, "Oh shit, let me get my stuff back on."
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I feel like you need like wrestling shoes for these floors. My God, just to get any traction.
Yeah, neither of us have traction here.
I'm seeing something with your front foot. Could you go back a couple?
Yeah. Are you seeing what I'm seeing?
I think we are seeing the same thing.
Yeah, like the raise up onto
Yep.
the toes.
Right there.
Yep.
Right there. Yeah.
There was. I wish I had thought of the timestamp. There was a time I saw it like 3 times in a row.
Mm-hmm.
This.
Oh, the
Yeah.
habit of the front toe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I was wondering about that. It doesn't look like. I didn't know if it had to do with the slide, right? The lack of friction there.
No, so that's a thing that's left over from something I was trying to learn that I don't want to be doing anymore.
What was the thing you were trying to learn?
So I was trying to learn check steps, which is where you like take a half step forward and you're basically checking your opponent's reactions, and then you bring it back. But I still have the habit of bringing the foot back without necessarily actually putting the foot forward in the first place.
I was gonna say because you're not really checking; you're just kind of drawing your foot.
Drawing it back without. Yeah. So that's a habit I need to train out for sure.
Yeah, you do have it a ton. Once the attention is drawn, it's hard to not see it.
Because I was doing it a lot because it helped me learn a better way to attack, which is to instead of step with a half step forward and then decide to attack or not, do a half step with my blade out and see if they do a blade action or back up, so that I don't run onto their sword and die.
Buck, what is your SCA name? Because I feel like
Johan.
Okay. I was like, have we fought before? But
Yeah, plenty.
100% have. Yeah. Okay.
I want to give you the same, the exact same advice that was passed to Faye. You are currently playing very dagger defensive and sword offensive, and your sword is so many times your opponent presented the opportunity for your sword to capture their sword, like right there, right? And you're already, it's an extension and a capture and just down the middle. So you have dealt with their sword and you would kill them. They're giving you their sword over and over in this particular set. Getting comfortable with sword-to-sword contact and playing off of that to your advantage, I think would yield you big return on your training investment.
Get you to those clean kills rather than doubles.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I figured out this weekend I need a plan B other than just hitting people in tempo and with absence of sword.
Yeah.
Because somebody got the scouting report on me and then absolutely shut me down, and it was just sad.
What were they doing against you that worked?
Because I was trying to like hit just in tempo, in absence of the sword, they just had their sword and their dagger in the center line, and they didn't move it.
Yeah, they were.
Because usually
stronger.
I could like convince somebody to move it offline, so that I can.
Yeah.
Usually, like I could get around one or the other.
Yeah.
But both is just a little too much to ask.
I think we've got one more video of you. That's also Miles, right?
Yes.
Yeah, let's watch that.
Is that?
But he's fighting different because he's just learning Fabris here. He's just focused on improving.
Let's take a look at that one.
And then the other one is like just 5 good passes where we're both trying our best.
That's this one.
Yeah.
Your stance is like completely different in this one, as opposed to like fighting him Fabris. You're like a lot lower.
yeah.
Yes, I am.
Is that like a tryhard stance that you're like more intense on it?
I feel more comfortable with the rapier, so that if I do more explosive movement, I'm not going to hurt him.
Hmm.
So I can have a little more spring to my step. Because the other one is a little stiff.
Hey, sword to sword. I love it. Look at that.
Yeah.
Oh, there was a good beat.
Yeah,
oh,
that's what I'm
another
saying.
one.
Like,
Nice. Those are two good ones.
For all those in chat, letting your sword be kind of defensive and an initiator is a good practice because it is the longest thing that you hold.
Wait, is Tandem Wraith in chat? Tanis, yeah, Tanis absolutely destroyed me yesterday. It was tragic. He's very nice about it, but
If y'all got footy, happy to watch it.
Yeah, were people taking video at Rose Tourney yesterday?
Yeah, Rose.
I think they were. I haven't seen any of my team. Miles's team had a good bit filmed, I think.
Nice.
So did you guys have an event yesterday?
Yeah, it was a Rose tournament yesterday, so super cool, super fun.
Love that.
Nice. What was the format for the tournament?
It was double elimination, like 4 teams, and then one mod, one Fiv, 2 unbelts, and 2 uncollared fencers per team.
Oh, so a mix of heavy and fencers?
Yes, so
Cool.
they'd go kind of out like Pokemon, which was pretty cool.
Oh, so it's kind of like champs at Penzik.
Pretty much, but like just a bunch of champs teams.
That's awesome.
I love that.
Cool.
Yeah. Y'all got anything
Alrighty.
else on the kind of how to min-max training time?
I think I agree with what you were saying. From Fighting Book, I feel like your offensive kit is really fantastic. And we double a lot because of it. That defensive kit, if you can get that built up with the suggestions Mimi was talking about with that sword and with your backstep, I think that you'll convert a lot of those double kills into clean kills.
Clean kills, yeah.
Cool.
Nice.
Thank you.
Alrighty. Giovanni, you ready?
Giovanni.
We got 3.
Yeah, I'm ready.
We got a long one with you and Salvador. Let's see it.
Oh, it's great. I use the environment, which is very important.
You did use the environment. Ran me to a stand.
All right, so Giovanni's on the right here in green, fighting Salvador on the left. Notably, Giovanni fights Destreza style.
Oh, so you're just gonna ask: is this Destreza or is this
Giovanni fights Destreza.
Tebow or?
It is Timbo, yeah.
Yeah. Salvador, I'm seeing the ballet steps.
I was feeling real playful. Giovanni was
Very fun.
Giovanni was like mess me up, and I was like, word.
What does that tradition, right? The Tebow Destreza tradition. What is the response to that thigh shot? Is it like bring guard all the way down, or is it ignore it and cut him in the face? Well, I don't know what the response is.
I don't really know either. I think that's why I died.
I was like, because of how your sword is presented forward, it's a long journey to get your hilt down that low.
Mm-hmm.
And it might be a backstep and lower guard. Yeah,
Yeah,
That
Is
makes
the
sense.
lowering
I
worth? I feel like it's so far. It might be in this context of the SCA. It might be better to disengage and hit him in the head, and just take the better trade.
I agree with you. I think Giovanni, what I've seen you do is try to bring that sword down, and I feel like, do you remember last practice when I got you off that?
Oh my god, yeah. Like
Yeah,
was that the one I saw you thinking and then let you do it
literally.
anyways?
Yeah, yeah, and I feel like that's what Boomy was just talking about is like not sure if lowering the sword rate like there is worth because it's such a big motion. It's really easy to capitalize on as your opponent.
Hmm.
I just want to point out something. Earlier in this fight, Giovanni ran me into like a pell. And
Yeah,
as soon as I recovered, Giovanni was like, "Hey, did I get your leg?" And I was like, "Dog, you ran me into a pell."
Hey, I asked you if you were okay 2 passes later.
Yeah, 2 passes later, you were like, "Oh, are you good?" This is where we were talking about guard.
yeah,
Yeah, we were talking about guards for like a while. It cuts. Michi cuts it. That's it.
okay.
We're gonna,
Right there.
for those in chat, I hope everybody acknowledges when you're fighting Sal that they prefer to dip their head to the left, right, with that hinge at the hip. So
Hey,
if
don't
you
tell people my secrets.
if you can trigger that, place your tip where their head's going to be, not where it is.
I gotta get that in my kit.
So let the chat know they're here. They want the goods.
yeah, they want the inside scoop.
Billy, what's the inside scoop on me? What's my tell?
Oh,
Are you gonna get me?
I think one of the things you are still working out is how to not explode as fast forward to put you in danger of a dagger. At least in our most recent data.
Yeah.
I felt very good putting a dagger into you because you exploded too hard every time you wanted to close.
Yeah, you did that like 5 times to me. I have real trouble fighting people taller than me, which I think is part of that equation.
Your acceleration is great. I have the same problem in Armored where I accelerate too much and I'm in like Kora where I don't want to be. I don't want to stop where I can hit you and not where we're belly to belly.
Giovanni, what's your like ideal situation fighting against Sal? What are you
So
going
I
for?
think it would be a pretty sweet parry into his shoulder.
Stabbing in the shoulder. Yeah.
But one of the things I noticed like after fighting him is if you watch, I react a lot to the blade, but not in a like a positive way, in more of a panic way.
Right, the response.
I will say I kind of eat Destreza up. I don't know why. Like I find my fighting style is very conducive to just beating it because they're gonna hold their sword out all day, and I'm just like, okay, well I also have a long sword, so I'm just gonna stand here, and your arm's gonna get tired.
Yeah.
Never-
That's funny because I feel like I have a really hard time with it. Like I
Do
went up
you?
against Giovanni on Thursday, and I was like, "What in the world do I do with this?"
Like, I do think Sal is one of the hardest fights I have, just ever.
I mean, you and everyone else.
That's fair. But I mean, like, I fight you and Marcus a lot too, and like, I do obviously lose against both of you, but I feel like I lose the hardest against Sal.
Yeah.
Well, so how often do you practice against Robert and Marcus?
So Marcus once a week, about Robert twice a month.
How often do you practice against me?
Every third event I go to.
There you go. So like, maybe every couple of months, right? So it makes sense, right? Like I'm gonna naturally be like Robert is one of the hardest fights that I have, but my peer, Master Orlando, I don't really struggle with him because I fight him every week, but I don't fight Robert every week. So like, you know, it's
legit. I feel like, Boomy, I would love your opinion on this. I feel like anytime two fighters practice a lot together, they just get closer and closer to 50-50 if they're both like try-harding and consistently training.
You also get weirder because your third intention is fucking weird.
Yeah. All right. Any notes on this set? We have 2 more with Giovanni.
Yeah. A quick I think against Sal in particular, they are going to when their blade is low, you should, in my opinion, cover their blade with your blade as part of both the pre and post thrust. As in, you either cover and run the line up, as in you cover low and to your left with your guard, and then run that up, because when they bring that blade online, they will necessarily click into yours, and you run that to their chest. You do have to play the game of how do I get around their hand, but that's part of the problem, that the execution in the moment. The other part is that after you throw an attack, if you are not doing something to cover their blade, that you should immediately go bring your guard to defend yourself. The best practitioners that I watch, like Master Kai, some of the other like high-end Destreza and kind of that Spanish tradition, they'll throw and they'll immediately bring their guard to a position where they're covering either the left line or the right line, typically in like a upper quadrant coverage, if that makes sense.
Got it. Do they have videos I could look up anywhere?
Absolutely. Yeah, you hit somebody and you immediately bring it over. I'll see if I can reach out to me. Like you have my Discord, since we're here in Discord. Just message me. I'll send some stuff to you.
Perfect. I'll do that after this set.
Yep.
And one thing I'll say, and this is just a general note for fighting me. If you were standing at my range, you were doing it wrong, right? Because I'm gonna bomb you forever. You gotta get in. Like,
yep.
90, maybe like 80% of the time when Robert gets me, it's because Robert has run me down.
Yes,
100. I want to say it's close to 100% of the time.
I don't think it's 100% of the time. There's definitely times where you like bomb me back because like
Sure.
we're
messing. I counterpunch you.
Mm-hmm. But like 85-90% of the time, it's because Robert like gets a strong parry on my blade and then closes really quickly. Right.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Astony, are you in the chat? Or in the call?
Hello.
Excuse me. Hello. Astony is one of our like a recent transplant to the Pittsburgh area from the Outlands, right?
I started in North Shield, and then I took an 8-year break while I did my PhD. So, bit of a weird fencing history.
Dr.
Yeah.
Istani. Fancy.
But you have a PhD, so like...
I do have a PhD.
Yeah,
What's
I was
a
gonna
PhD
say.
Developmental biology.
That's pretty
Hell yeah.
cool.
Fuck yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like study babies developing?
So, to summarize it quickly so we can focus on the fighting, the work that I'm currently doing is on early development shortly after fertilization, and how certain bits of DNA that get like certain markers on the DNA get inherited from
Gotcha.
one parent or the other specifically.
That's awesome.
Cool.
So cool. That's so cool. I'm excited to see this fight because Estony already that stance is it's like picturesque, like sword and cloak.
Yep.
I heard you both like talking about how fun these fights were, so I'm excited to like watch the video.
They were a blast.
We definitely had more fun after the camera cut, because we were trying hard, very, very hard here, and then we got very pretty later. But
Nice. I would say, did you two feel like these were like evenly matched?
definitely,
Yes.
I would think of you two as like right at the same level.
Mm-hmm.
We also both use weird styles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoa!
I'm very fond of Fabris, as much because other people get very weird about it.
Your like setup position is so pretty. It's so pretty. Like as soon as you come like on guard, I'm like, oh, that is a picture from like a manuscript.
That is what I'm modeling off of, to be fair.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like every other time I see you at practice, it's with the Fabris book in your hand.
I keep it with my fencing gear as much just because I'm trying to like see how much it actually works.
Yeah.
It is kind of funny that Fabris actually thinks cloak is better than dagger.
I agree.
That's all I got. All right, running it back.
I feel like we look like we're moving a bit fast. Are we playing at 1x or are we playing at 1.25?
You're at 1x.
Wow, I did not realize we were that fast.
Right? That's why I like to watch it at 0.7 sometimes, just because fencing goes so fast.
I'm having a hard time distinguishing your like swords from the trees.
Yeah.
Fair.
I'm like focusing on footwork because I'm like I can't see their swords.
Yeah. I'm at 0.75 right now. You two are doing a really good job of keeping measure until you're ready to go in and do a thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That's definitely something I've paid a lot of attention to, especially because I know that I have a long measure, but also people see the longer measure because I'm fighting so extended.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You can feel the blade presence.
Mm-hmm. I like that you all aren't doing what I feel like is the typical cloak thing, which is okay. Giovanni.
He just did
Sometimes it works.
I like that you are not doing that most of the time, and then Giovanni does it at the end here. That I feel like most of the time when I fight someone with cloak, they just like start swinging it at me, and I'm like, what is that really doing?
Yeah.
It's a fun thing to do very deliberately, but it is something that like it's a tool in the toolkit for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I think
What do you think of cloak?
for the both of you, the advice would honestly still be the same as some of our prior videos, which is maintaining control of the thing that's going to kill you with your main blade, and then attacking.
Yeah.
Like just the comfortability of and not relying on the cloak to be the defensive item solely, but also using your blade as a means to control. Because you had one good extension and something that's like a cross between a capture and a beat, but you let it go to then throw, as opposed to keeping your guard to the inside in that particular interchange, where you can then run up their blade, right? Because you have all of the leverage to then follow through with at least one free offensive attempt where their blade is out of play. Watching the both of you, there's a lot of like, let's disengage their cloak and try to beat the cloak with my blade. And I think that's and this is for all of chat, a sort of like mental shift to deal with their blade first. Just always dealing with their blade first, because ultimately, as the SCA does, you're ultimately shooting to become a master of defense, and then the offense will flow from that.
Cool. Any other notes before we move on?
Not really. Yeah, I don't really have any for that fight.
Cool.
Fun to watch.
All right, we got one for.
Thanks.
Destiny, I want
Poetry.
What are you gonna be at next? I wanna fight you. I feel like I've not fought you much, and
The thing I'll be at most often is the debatable lands fencing practice because I don't have a car.
sick. Okay, I'll be there. Who knows? I'll be back in it.
We'll get you out there.
Yeah.
Do we have Shannon on the call? Sean?
They have Sean here.
I do not see her.
I know she was like coming back from something, so I don't know if she's quite ready. I'm gonna save that one for later, hoping she'll be on. Is that okay with you, Gio?
Oh, 100%.
Cool. All right, let's move on to Nicolosa. We have one with her in Celestia, and then I believe she just sent me one from Adult Swim as well.
Shannon in chat says they are here.
Oh, Shannon is here. Let's do Shannon then. We'll do Shannon, and then we'll get to Nicolosa's. Shannon, would you hop into the Discord server, into any of the voice calls for us?
Bye. Is Nicolosa the I don't know who that is. Or maybe I do know who that is. Oh. Hey, I brought cupcakes to this practice.
I ate 4 of them and did not say happy birthday to you.
Hell yeah.
Which, to be fair, they could have been for me because my birthday was yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So many birthdays.
How?
Love it.
Happy birthday.
Thank
Happy
you.
birthday, Gio. Yeah, I didn't realize your birthday was yesterday. Put that in my calendar.
Yeah, 29, almost 30, almost old.
Dang, you're like an almost old man.
I'm ready to see
I think I'm
these.
the old in the context of this room.
Yeah, you are. Maybe you're 38, right?
Me, I am turning 40 this year.
You're turning 40.
Yep.
We really?
You.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, Salvador and I are definitely kiddos.
Yeah, y'all babies
Yeah. I think
comparatively.
most of the folks on the call are younger than you two. Maybe everyone. Wild. Boomy, are you doing anything to celebrate for your 40th?
Nothing in particular. I'm not a big birthday human.
Yeah, I hear you.
Are we waiting on
Robert, I am
person
like
maybe getting a call?
significantly older than you.
You're like 3 years older than me.
You're 25?
I'll be 26 real soon.
No, okay, you're right.
Yeah. I believe we're
I was
getting...
like, I am the same age as Giovanni. Like, what do you mean?
Yeah. It's not getting any 3 years. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and it seems like Shannon's having trouble with Discord. So let's do that one, and then Shannon, do you want to chat as you have things to say? Alrighty. So Sean or Shannon is the one on the right, and Giovanni here on the left. I'm so guilty of switching people's SCA and Monday names back and forth. I have such a hard time keeping them straight.
Me too. I'm glad that you just have one.
Yeah. After growing up in the SCA, I figured I'd make it easy for everyone.
So Giovanni, how do you feel these sets of fights went for you?
These specific ones, I love fighting Shannon. I feel like she's better than me, which is good because I learn a lot when I fight her. She does some shots to my shoulders that I don't see other people do either.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of coming from above.
Yeah, I think that Shannon has really come into her own as a fighter. Like in this most recent year. I mean, she got to the finals of like our QRC, so like.
Yeah, she did.
I think she's really.
Yeah, it's her and Marcus.
Mm-hmm.
Like that shot right there is what I was talking about, where she kind of like scoops her sword.
Yeah, that cut to the shoulder.
Was it like a drop cut to the shoulder? She is ready. She's ready to fire.
You have a very pretty disengage. I just watch you coupe underneath.
Mm-hmm. She's my squeaky chair.
What are your thoughts when you switch hips and bring your dagger foot forward? Is there like a particular intent? Oh, this is the Giovanni.
Oh, sorry, I thought you were asking. I don't have a dagger, so I was like, this can't be for me.
No. For
What
you.
was the question?
Oh, I was saying sometimes you bring your dagger foot forward, I was wondering if there was a like in your mind, what is the advantage in the moment, or is there a particular action set you're looking for, or what is the goal?
That's usually when I'm trying to use my cape a little more offensively.
Okay.
It gives it just all that more range.
I noticed Sean doing that as well managed to pick up your dagger pretty effectively. Or sorry, managed to pick up your sword with her dagger pretty effectively. Yeah, I like that. Too much yapping.
Nice leg shot.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Shannon, did you feel like with the dagger, I noticed you switching to the dagger foot forward a couple times too. Are you mostly doing that in response to something that Giovanni's doing, or just to like initiate that way? Cool.
To initiate. Okay.
So this is from the manual. I just want to defend it really quick.
There was a
What is
moment
it?
where both of you
That
were like
opening.
praising the sky with your blades.
I love it. I feel like sword like pointed up or all the way down feels like such a joke, but it's honestly it's not always the worst.
I do it all
Yeah.
the time. I keep my
So-
sword started up, right? Because
Yeah.
especially with people that I don't fight a lot, because they don't. It's hard to read my range when my sword's up like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, like I do like a nice drop shot, and I get Iago with that a lot.
Okay.
Honestly,
Yeah, Shannon,
Can you
Shannon,
run
I
that
was
back
noticing
from
that-
about midway?
what was that for me?
Could you run that back from about midway through the video?
Yeah.
Please and thank you. Well,
One
lots
note
of-
that I wanted to mention, it for Giovanni is it what Shannon said in chat. I agree with it that it looks like you're giving her your sword to just grab with her dagger, and that's letting her close in on you. Which, when she has two weapons, is not a fun trait for you.
Yeah, I see that. I've never really watched videos of me fights, and this has been really nice.
Mm-hmm.
There's unfortunately style wise, if you're playing that particular blade forward style, like that Spanish tradition, you necessarily have that built in. If that makes sense, especially since you're kind of gutted with like half the system is built on parry and cutting, as opposed to thrusting as your riposte.
One thing I think I could do better with it is I could just walk the circle the other direction towards the dagger,
Mm-hmm.
because daggers can't reach as far as swords.
Mm-hmm. So putting your sword more on their sword side.
Yeah.
And then just moving offline towards the dagger.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Circling to your right as opposed to left.
Yeah.
That doesn't help me giving the sword to the dagger, but it does since it's a different note.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things you can do to kind of abuse a dagger, the vast majority of people who play sword dagger in the SCA rely on the dagger almost solely for defense, as we've seen in some prior videos this evening. Like in that last interchange, if you watched the dagger reaction, the way you got to the leg is the dagger went up and then you disengaged low. But initiating with a step to, like you said, toward the dagger side, and presenting either high or low to get a reaction out of the dagger, and then playing the other side, I think is a very valuable asset in your offensive kit.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
This is definitely my favorite fight of the set.
Yeah.
Oh, this same night I got Edward with one so good that like people cheered. I did the move completely like perfect from the manual,
Nice.
straight to the chest at the end too. So we thought we were done here. We actually doubled. So we were like, wait, one more.
Mm.
Yeah, we have a tradition here to not end on a double.
Nice play. Right at the
Can
end.
end on an L.
Shannon in chat. I think if your dagger stayed forward and didn't bring your fist upward, but kind of flipped high and low, you'd have a more efficient dagger reaction that is less, I suppose, less abusable from the offensive standpoint, from your opponent's standpoint. I think the only other thing that was noteworthy is similar advice to prior, which is using your blade to beat their extended blade. There's ways to either capture or push the outside line, inside line, to beat the glide, sword to sword, to then create
Do you
your
feel
offense.
so? One thing to note: Shannon uses a very light sword. Do you think that that is still possible with a very light sword? Doing those beats.
You're saying Shannon has a very light sword?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I'm
Yeah.
using the Castile Elite blade at 45, so the end of it has very little weight. But I think that if you're doing things in line and in tempo, in line as in using the edge of your blade and leverage to the best of your ability, that you can create significant advantage blade to blade.
Nice. Alrighty. Any more notes we're going to talk about before we move on?
I don't think so. You both did really well. These are
Yeah.
really it's a really good set of fights.
Yeah.
Thank
Excited.
you.
It's good.
I'm gonna go watch all those Kai videos.
Yeah, go
Hell
watch
yeah.
those Kai videos. Good stuff.
Cool. Nicholas, are you ready to jump in?
Battle Barn.
Let's do this.
Hell yeah.
Hello.
So,
Alright. We'll get this one started. I'm going to get your other video ready too.
Thank you.
this Atlantia?
Yeah, Atlanteans, this is Celestria and Nicholas fighting in the barn.
Nice.
This is in your backyard, right, Boomy?
Yeah.
This is when campus wasn't having practice, and so it was actually closer for us to be able to drive up on a weeknight.
Yeah. How long ago was this?
This is December.
Okay, cool.
Where are you typically at, Nicolasa?
Charlottesville, Virginia, so about an hour and a half from them.
Oh, okay, cool. I only asked because I am an Atlantean practice kind of staple. Basically, it's the only practice I go to. They're in Atlantia, so
You hit Storvik and Lockmere, right?
Storvik, Lockmere, Roxbury Mills. Yeah,
Nice.
Yeah, we're a bit further down.
yeah.
Are you like an hour and a half south of DC or further?
Me?
Nicolasa.
Oh,
Yeah, hour and a half, 2 hours, depending on traffic.
okay.
I love that mask.
It's Alessandra.
It was getting late in the night. We were trying to stay awake. Lots
Yeah.
of hopping.
To shake
Oh,
it,
yeah.
to get it loose. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, one thing we did discuss is, we start and measure a lot. We like duking it out in there. We
Mhm.
acknowledge that.
It's not just an Aethelmarc thing.
No, that's a
Nope.
common thing.
No, I see it with everyone.
I've
Nice.
never once started in measure. That's why I start in measure all the time.
Could you go back 10 seconds and then frame by frame it? I think there's an interaction here where your dagger. So pause. Go back like a couple frames. Yeah. So if you watch chat, if you watch the dagger flip, this is something I see that's very common, which is the over parry. Right? You see how the dagger is almost horizontal. It's so easy for the sword to, if Celestria had the wherewithal with their main blade, the disengage to the belly is right there.
Yeah, when the dagger's all the way down here.
And something I teach is like you want to funnel people's blades to the guard. We all do the panic dagger motions that are exaggerated. That's every single one of us. But I think something that really separates out the very high performing fencers in this context is their discipline in trying to stop where they need to, as opposed to over exaggerating the defenses. So keeping that dagger just where you need to keep the blade off the edge of your body. That last little interchange had a lot of like dagger chase built in. Sal, Robert, y'all got thoughts?
I think that I really like that you are keeping like constant pressure, like in this fight. Like when you go, you are committed to going, and I really like that because I fight very similarly. I like to keep the pressure on until I know that person like you're going like right there. You just you go all in, and I love that because I do the same thing. So yeah, I think it's great.
One thing I'm noticing is you do a lot of side to side movement, and I think that that can be really useful. I have seen at least one point where I think it's hurting you, where like Celestia's blade was in the inside, and you move so that your dagger is kind of moving away from it, which I think lets her send that home. Um, I think that's a useful tool, though, so something to keep an eye on.
Definitely not something I was aware of, so appreciate the feedback.
Yeah, let me see if I can find the point that it happened. Yeah, so like right here, I think was what I was seeing.
Yeah.
Good
Yeah.
parry, good follow.
Good. Yeah. No, I like what you're bringing though. It's cool seeing the progress even just since we fought at Adult Swim.
Ironically, this is before Adult Swim, but hopefully the
before
progress
Adult
is.
Swim? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, this is.
F.
Yeah, this is December.
Have him chat for me. Cool. Do y'all want to move on to that Adult Swim footage?
Let's do it.
Okay, I think that's this one. And this one's me.
This is one where I'm definitely spending a lot more time trying to figure out your style because it's been probably a year since we fought. Whereas
Yeah.
Celestia, I feel like I had fought more recently, and so a lot more. I feel like probing and trying to figure you out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, more uncertainty. Yeah, like what Sal was saying is your aggression is really good. Just like keeping the pressure on. That's what Bimmy was talking about, where I closed too much, as I closed and didn't really have anything to do and got into.
When Robert brings that sword low in that last interchange, I think you bring your dagger low to match. Like have a dagger that follows their blade, like passively locks out their blade.
Oh yeah.
On that side.
With that line up.
Yeah. Like I think your dagger's high in that specific interchange because they started low.
Mm-hmm. I know that was something that you and I had actually talked about back in that December practice.
Mm-hmm.
You keep integrating.
Yep. Defending yourself against that low line. Low guard is fairly easy to beat. You just need to get your dagger in the right place and force somebody to have it disengage all the way to the upper line.
I can see him at least reacting to the fact that he's bringing it lower and bringing it parallel, but I think you're saying that I should bring it even a little bit lower yet.
The idea is that if you have it in the middle, Robert's threat up the center to your belly from low and disengaging to your outside high can forces your dagger to react. Does that make sense? Whereas if you kept it low, they have to disengage to high, in which case you can punish it either with your dagger or your sword, or play off the one reaction that they have.
And I've been working with Joffrey on reacting and using my sword more in that. Don't know that I get any gold stars in this video, though.
You have a want in this particular set with Robert to what I would describe as like sneaking in to throw. Like you're taking these small steps to try to get into B, if you wanted to call it that, like a mid-range or a small lunge for both of you would kill each other. As opposed to staying at C+, where it's a deep, deep, deep lunge to maybe touch, and then stepping and exploding off of that step. I think that's maybe the biggest difference. Your offensive kit is the vulnerability is when you take that small step in to try to brawl. And you're good at it, which means you get a good amount of feedback of having success there against a large swath of fighters. But I think that is also something that should not be relied upon because I think for performance, at least maxing that, trying to stay outside of measures, being essentially nigh untouchable until you're ready to engage, step, and explode, will yield much better results and a lot less coin flippy in its interaction.
I think this is the shot that we want to cover by lowering the dagger.
Absolutely.
Right?
Blocking right there.
Let me see if I can find a video. Chat is asking, can you speak more to how you use your dagger to counter low guards? Robert, if you keep playing through the video, I'm going to try to pull one up on the side.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah.
I really like your footwork. Your footwork is very intentional, right? It doesn't feel like forced, and it doesn't feel like extraneous.
Dancers unite.
Yeah, it's very. Are you also a dancer? Nice. Let's go.
Yep. 30 years a dancer.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Your footwork is very intentional. I really like that.
The one place it gets me a little bit trouble is that a lot of my dances have been choreographed, which means I get very predictable with my footwork.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's something I've been like I was thinking was having trouble putting into words. Is I feel like um, something that you would give me a harder time when we're fighting is a little bit more like chaos, if that makes sense. Like pretending to throw a shot but not doing it, funky timings, stuff like that.
Dropping your guard for a second.
Yeah. I feel like that's something that I get a lot of people with is just like just weird timings, like throwing threats but not actually following through on them.
Mark. Chaos mode and invitations. Got it. No, this is good. Like I'm writing down the list.
More contemporary movements, less ballet movements.
Yeah. That is such a good way to put it.
I did mostly ballet and contemporary, and so like they've been very near and dear to me.
Yeah.
The other fun one to get a little bit more extemporaneous with swing dancing. So you a lot of measure, a lot of flow.
Oh yeah.
Actually taught that at a dance fight last year as how swing dancing can affect your fencing. I encourage it.
I want to try to make that. Do you know when that's going to be this year?
It's August 23rd. Unfortunately, I have a conflict, but looks like a good lineup.
What is it called? Dance fight?
The entire event is just about how dance and fighting influence each other. It was awesome.
Robert, I sent you a message via Facebook. If you pull that up when you get a chance.
Yeah, let me do that real quick.
I might also try to make that. That sounds awesome.
The goal is right at 1 minute. So this is Tora and I at this last Penzik. We're fighting each other. We're both low guard. He's taught me a ton of stuff I know. At minute 1, I just found a good... If you pause right at 1, that is a great example of low guard to low guard. Like covering low guard right here. We are we are essentially mirror matched, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And you see how my dagger needs to both cover my left to right as well as forward enough that if he brings the sword up to attack a killing shot, right, my hip or above, that will be funneled to the outside of my person via my dagger. And that little point downward and a little point inward with my dagger is the difference between having to react to everything Tor does versus having to only react to when he disengages. And that is, I think, the difference in our dagger placement that I think could yield great results against any low guard fighter. All that aside, continuing on. Thank you for pulling it up.
Yeah. No, I like this. It's picture's worth 1,000 words with this kind of thing.
Yep. That is a copy paste of each other in that context.
Yep. Anything else you want to talk about or look at with Nicholas's videos? Cool. Alrighty. Take a look at what we got. Oh, I think Jan is on the call. I wanted to jump back to his fight with Faye and look at it from his perspective.
Is Jan here?
Jan, are you with us?
Jan
yes, thank you.
Excellent. I swear to God, my browser. It's dead again.
Man, can you not do that right now? That was directed at my cat. She's being a cat.
Are we getting Chrome to work right now?
Yeah, we're getting Chrome to work. Give me just a sec.
Chat, here is my loud dog. She's the one barking at Celestia coming into the house.
I'm gonna I think I'm gonna download Firefox right after this stream is done.
All right, back to video review.
Okay, can you all see my stream again?
Yeah, you're good.
Cool. All right, so Jan is the one on the right here. Jan, can you talk for me? Just want to make sure we can hear you.
Yes, testing 1, 2, 3.
Excellent.
Jan, do you have a particular intent in this fight?
I think trying to be as clean as possible. Like, few movements, 1, 2, have it be done.
When you say clean, do you mean like crisp, like good movement, or do you mean like making it so that your kills are very like identifiable?
Mainly crisp, clean movement that would result in a kill.
Okay.
One immediate thing that you can do to yield a much better result is you see how you have almost a 90-degree bend at your dagger hand? If you just extended your arm to like 10 degrees bend at your elbow, your dagger would be much more relevant in the fight all the time. Where your opponent is doing that. The dagger is just more extended forward and thus participating in the interaction.
Yeah, I like that kill right here. Your dagger is like not even in play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you could have definitely picked that up with your dagger.
Camera pause.
I think I'm the one behind the camera there asking me something. Well, the thing I'm noticing is you've got this subtle, like you're shifting your weight forward a little bit as if you're like you want to lunge. And I think that sets you up. That's fine if you're going to lunge, but it means that if you want to actually back up, once you've shifted your weight forward, you can't back up as quickly.
Yeah, you're not getting as much like return on investment.
I think just being a little bit more consistently upright will save you some time there, potentially.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this lean is what I'm talking about. I do that too. I've been working to break that in myself.
Good draw cut.
Oh. Yeah, it was a beautiful
pretty.
end. Nice. Any other notes for this one?
I think after the dagger extension I think the other thing that might be worth the most work for a very good return on investment is the practice of stepping back, like a retreat step, where you stay very squared over your legs, like forward, back squared, 50-50 weight distribution. If you watch yourself step backward, there's a lot more lean where you're putting a lot of weight on your back foot, and that often will get you out of the first action, but the moment your opponent redoubles, you are now leaning back, too much weight on the back foot, and it is hard to move backwards off of that. You kind of have to fall backwards at best.
Like that backward lunge I used to do. Cool.
Yep.
Alrighty. I think this might be the last. Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Oh.
I think this might be the last one I've got, unless people have messaged me more. And this is Ariella from Practice Today.
Practice today?
Practice today, yeah, we had practice from like noon to 4. All right, so on the left we have Ariella. On the right we have Aethelmarc. Sorry. Ariella, are you with us?
Are they in chat?
I think Ariella's on the call.
I see her in call, but she is muted.
I don't see an Ariella in chat. Do I? Is this the person?
Let me message her. See
Oh,
if she's
yep.
ready.
I see somebody in chat.
Is she active in the chat?
I see her picture like
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the Discord call too. So
Does anyone know if they're case primary?
They do, yeah.
yeah,
Case primary.
it's primary.
Oh, yeah, there she is. Ariella, I think you're muted in Discord.
Mm-hmm.
He unmute
Need unmute.
if it's muted. We also might be their third monitor as it goes. Has someone reached out?
Yeah, she's in the Discord chat right now.
Oh no, I meant someone messaged them directly.
Okay. She said she can hear for commentary, so I think we can jump into it.
So just unmuting Discord.
Cool.
Oh. Maybe.
All right. We'll start it up.
Need unmute. If you click, there is a
It looks like a little
icon.
microphone.
Yeah, there's a microphone icon right next
How about
to
that?
where you speak. Hey,
Yeah.
there you are.
There you go.
Hello.
Hello.
Microphone. Hi. Hey. Hi. Hi. We're getting. I hope we're on here. We've got. I hope we're on here. We've got.
Okay, try like
If you
that.
could
You're
turn
using
down
audio.
the stream sound,
Okay.
and then you can, whatever device you're using to speak in Discord, that will be ideal to not get the double.
Yeah, are you doubling up?
Can you hear the audio coming through now, Robert?
Yeah, we can hear you
Yeah,
great.
we can hear you.
Yeah.
Sounding good.
Excellent.
All right.
Oops. All right, back to the video.
Is case your primary form, your preferred form?
Yes.
Cool.
I have a heavy fighting background with two sword.
Yeah, I was like, I believe we have fought and armored more than not.
Yeah.
So the one thing I'm seeing like immediately is just a lane. There's just like a runway right down the middle between your two swords. I think if you were to offset them a little bit, it would eliminate that runway.
Okay.
Do you mean like
Okay,
high-low
okay.
offset?
Either like a high-low offset or having one of the blades at like an angle. I'm just seeing like a very clear like right down the middle between the two blades.
You mean you want to send a long lunge down the middle there?
Yeah, like all day. I just want to fire like right down the middle.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna pull up the other video too.
I feel like with case in rapier specifically, the center line is an inevitability, like the nature of the tools you're using. High-low helps take away some of that so that you don't get both swept in a single action.
Oh, that's me in the background. I'm gonna pull up the other video too.
You have the other one?
Let's see.
Cool.
Yeah, I think this one's against Genshin. Yeah, he's one of our like pretty high level fencers.
Lefty nonetheless.
Ariel, I love your low stance. Like you have
Yep.
so much potential energy wrapped up. You're ready to go.
Yep. Footwork is great in that regard. Mm-hmm. Nice throw.
I think what I'm seeing with the single here reminds me of what Bumi was saying earlier of like attacking the sword first, is you're going straight for his body.
There are, at least from my perspective, two immediate things that you would gain a ton of value out of. The first one is stepping back when they throw. Right now, you have a very pretty starting stance in terms of your hips and legs. You are low, a lot of potential stored energy. But when your opponent is doing a thing, you are not stepping back to give yourself room to think and to process and to react, if that makes sense.
It does.
So
Okay.
making a habit of step back and parry, like that is a I don't know exactly where they're going to be. Let me step back and parry. Just parry the educated guess. I think that alone will give you a lot less dice roll as to, do I beat them on the offensive side before they beat me? It will make it a lot more assured that when you step back, you parry, and you do catch that parry, then you can come back with your blades. And I think the other part is your blades are very parallel to each other. They're within a couple of inches, which allows them to be controlled. Right here, when you had one high and one low, that's a lot harder to control. But when they are parallel to each other and both presented forward, your opponent has the option to now essentially control both of your blades with their one blade. And I think that is something that you would gain a lot more value offensively by having one a little bit higher, like pointing toward their mask, and then one lower pointed toward their knee. I think that is something that's going to be a better starting position because it gives you more offensive capacity. Like it's a lot of stuff to cover if you spread them out defensively. I think those two things.
Well, thank you.
Would be
I've been told that before, but I am obviously not changing that habit, and so
Yeah.
I think the
It's where you're
video review
comfortable.
is very helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. The step back is going to be very different than armored because in armored, honestly, rattan moves significantly slower in spear or otherwise, comparatively, and so that step back is way more of a necessity in the rapier game compared to the ship side.
All right, great. Thank you.
Yeah. Y'all got stuff, Sal? Robert?
No, I think you've hit like a really good point. I don't have a lot of experience with rattan fighting versus rapier, so I can't really say in that regard. But I mean, yeah, I think solidly just like what Booby was saying about stepping back and also just Making sure that yeah, everything Booby said.
That's fine. That's chill. I'm good with that. Those are at least my top 2 off of your set.
Well, I appreciate the video review because I think, like I was saying, even if I've heard something before, maybe this will help it.
Yeah.
Thinking better, get me to practice it more, focus on it, or make use of it better. So this has been really nice.
For all of you in chat right now, I just wanted to point out something that this ties into what you were just saying. One of the most important things you can do for your own betterment is to, in some way, before your next practice, remind yourself of what your intention is. And what I mean is, for myself, I've been grappling for nigh on 20 years. I've been fencing for now 12. I've been Shiv for fighting on that side for like 4 to 5 at this point. But I have a draft in my phone for each discipline, and I write down notes as I learn things, and I look at them right before my next practice or my next event to come in with intention to be better, intention to learn. And that, I believe, is a huge difference between somebody who makes big steps in progression in any sort of skill acquisition compared to somebody who stalls out and is kind of like doing their first year over and over. It's setting that intention and specifically working on your weaknesses and building on your strength in your game.
I 100% agree. I keep a big document with all of my notes over time and do the exact same thing.
Yep. I feel like anybody who is playing kind of at the high end of their particular discipline has some form of that, like that. As chat, like you're saying, deliberate practice. There is an intention set every time you step on the field of your practice. All right, soapbox done.
Excellent. So I think that brings us to the end of the footage that I had prepared. Unless, Faye, are you still on the call? We have some fights that we did. I wasn't sure if you wanted to go over them.
Yes.
Yeah, do you want to go over our fights?
Do it.
I think that would be good if everybody's still down because, Robert and I kind of know each other.
Just a little bit.
Just a little. This is my wife, for anyone that doesn't know. So we did the set of 5 just last Thursday, I think. Would love to get y'all's feedback on it or suggestions.
Yeah, familiarity is weird, and that it brings out some very weird interaction.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's also, for this kind of review, it's definitely, I think, easier to have other people reviewing our fights than reviewing our own fights.
Yeah. Absolutely. For both of you, your measure keeping is great.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely run away from him a lot. I run away from a lot of people.
Yeah. Some of your practice for remedying that is going to be, how do you present a credible threat to regain space after you've stepped back and parried? So you take that step back, you parry, and you've defended yourself exactly as you should. And then the question becomes, how do I then step forward with a credible threat to push them back on a list that is small? In an open field, it doesn't really matter, but it's good practice to be able to push somebody back with the assumption that you might fight on a smaller list.
Where was this at? Were you guys in Pittsburgh?
Sorry?
You guys in Pittsburgh for this?
No, this is the
Ball
This is Brook Hills. Yeah. Yeah, this was their first outdoor practice this season.
Nice.
In the cluster of pollen that is the outdoors right now.
Yeah.
For basically everybody.
Running back. Let's see.
I think, Faye, something that you could do and make immediate practice of is really tracking Robert's sword with your dagger. And you're doing a good job of it here, way more so than I think the other footage. But think about it like just always following and locking somebody out passively, as in if they extended it into the obvious first line, that their sword would go outside of your body line. And that's something you both could test, right? At any point, freeze and say, is my dagger in the right place for the sword presented? I am of the belief that if you take away a person's options, that it is much easier on your mental stack to then create an appropriate response. I want it to be as simple as possible for my brain, because my brain's got to do a lot of braining in a very short amount of time.
Right. Yeah. Something else I'm seeing here is we talk about like the find and the gain for the blade, and I'm seeing a lot of tracking like with the dagger, but I think something that could help improve it is, and it goes back to what we were talking about earlier, making sure that we're also using our sword like 50-50, right?
Yeah, defense, offense.
Using your sword a bit more defensively here, to like, you could use your sword to cover Robert's sword, right? Just as like an extra layer, you know? And I think that is really good for, especially when you're fighting like up, right? Having that extra layer of like defense can be really helpful.
Yeah, for sure. I'm already excited to try it.
Yeah, absolutely. Robert, you are still switching your feet, I think, more than you should.
Am I really?
If you watch the
Why am I
set,
doing
you
that?
do a shuffle step 2 times, maybe 3 times,
Oh yeah,
as a defensive response.
like the steps
Mhm.
backward.
Yeah, where you're like cross and step, but it's not like a cross smooth. You're still in your stance. It is I need to move my feet fast to get out of here in this moment.
Oh yeah, here.
Like that one was a good cross, and that's like you're still square. You're ready to jump back in.
Okay.
Right. That's pretty. That's how you should cross step back. But there's a couple where it's a little bit more shuffly, in the sense that you like stand up a little bit more. It's not a clean cross step back. The feet get a little close to each other, and then you sort of backpedal out from that point. I think that's like that. That is something that
Like
I
that.
don't think most people are going to punish you on, but I think you will get punished at the high end.
Point it out when I
Yeah.
when
Go ahead and let it run.
I'm gonna punish you for it.
do it.
Like that cross step forward is also in measure. Yeah, that
Oh yeah, I'm crossing.
should not have done that. I don't think.
Yeah,
when
I
someone
totally
gets the right
agree. Crossing like that measure
Mhm.
is definitely too big.
That
of a
would be
difference.
a John takes a kind of a heel tap step and then
Yeah.
launch off of that, seeing that moment.
Could you go back like, I don't know, like 15 seconds? A little more.
Everybody in chat who's just chilling, if you see Robert cross their dagger foot forward, and you're in measure, use that as the moment to steal pressure right there.
Faye, can I ask a question about something that I'm seeing?
Of course. I don't know if I'll be
Um,
able to answer it well.
So I'm noticing you're like, you just did it again, like right there. You're kind of like fishing with your sword. What are you trying to gain, like information for that, or is it just like presenting a threat? It's like that, right?
Yeah.
Where I like send out my sword, but like
Yeah, right
there's
there.
nothing, like nothing's
Mhm.
happening.
Yeah.
That right there.
Yeah, I think I'm just trying to prompt, and like Robert's of course too good for this, right? But I'm trying to prompt like some type of response, hoping that like he'll throw something and then I'll get him, which again, hard to have that work on Robert.
Yeah, the familiarity is real.
I would say, just be like err on the side of caution of that, because I think that is a pretty vulnerable, like you know, you're kind of just throwing your sword into nothing, and by doing that you're bringing it a lot closer to both Robert's blade or any opponent really, their defense, so they could just snatch you up and
Yeah,
you're in
if
in an unfavorable position.
right, I could gain your sword here and just go in.
Mm.
So
Yeah,
then
it's
you're
just,
saying it's better for me to like have like like I'm gonna go in and try to stab his arm or shoulder rather than being like, are you gonna do something about this?
Yeah, I would say like go in with a target instead of just
yeah,
like doing the fishing, right?
Yeah.
Because that
Okay.
I only bring it up because I used to do that. I used to try to get that like casting my sword forward to try to get a response, and you're just gonna get snatched up.
yeah.
Like you're just gonna grab your blade and just close in on you.
I'm definitely guilty of that too, and I 100% agree with you, Sal. I think it's a more the problem with this. I think is that it's not it puts you in danger, and it doesn't convince me that you're gonna hit me. Like it doesn't make me
Right.
feel like I'm in danger. So if you do
Right.
pick a target, then I have to respond a little bit more.
Right, because if you were doing it like once and then like other stuff, and then you did it again, and then other stuff, I think it would be like more effective. But I'm watching you just go like cast your sword out, like you're just doing it like in repetition, and so it's not registering as like a viable threat.
Yeah, I want to be threatening, so thank you.
Yeah.
I hope that makes sense.
I can give you
Yes, it does.
very concrete ways to do that a little bit better and to punish the responses.
Ooh,
When
interesting.
if you go back a few frames, instead of letting that tip drop right here, when you step forward, keep your guard exactly as it is. I would obviously point your dagger a little lower to cover the low line. That's a separate issue. So you would stop right here, right? So right here, you would be, you would just keep that tip high and threaten Robert's left shoulder, neck, whatever you can turn around. Does that make sense? And if they have no response, then you can turn your hand into a pronated position where your palm is toward the ground and just hit them. If they stand still and their dagger doesn't move. If their dagger parries to the outside, which a lot of people will do, you will then next time know to drop your blade. So you step forward, keeping that blade high. As they go to disengage, you immediately drop your blade low and hit them in the stomach. If that makes sense, your tip will fall into position to kill them. So it would be like a step forward and an immediate lunge. If they are matching your step forward with a step back, you know that you now have to deceive them both with measure as well as with your blade. It cannot be just the blade and the step forward. If they take a matching step back, what you might have to do is your step forward might have to be you take a step forward, back, whatever it is. You're like, hey, this is my gate, I swear. And then you take a big step forward when they are taking that same smaller step back. And now you've gained a measure to really give a real threat. The threat has to do with you stepping forward just in your guard and covering Robert's blade with your dagger. And when your tip is high, they have to give a response. They either get hit from the outside or you disengage and hit low. Hopefully that makes sense. I know it's a lot of words with no visuals.
I can picture it. Yeah, and now I think I'm never gonna sleep tonight because I'm gonna just be like
thinking about the things.
thinking about this all night.
Yeah.
We'll pull out the swords and practice, then you can go to sleep.
I am a huge proponent of step forward, present your opponent with, I swear I'm going to do this. Like all you're doing is triggering the reaction and immediately abusing their reaction. All of us have pre-programmed reactions. Ideally, they are tight and minimal movement, but we all have, especially an experienced fighter has an oh shit parry with both of their items, or an oh shit I need to stand up because I'm spooked, whatever it is, and you are trying to elicit that reaction. I don't know if I used that word correctly, and create offense off of that automatic reaction, that kind of lizard brain oh shit reaction. That is my bread and butter, as it were, offensively, where I create a dagger parry and just kill them wherever the dagger's not.
I've started copping that from you. I do that a lot too now. I think at Ruby Joust we talked about it.
Mm-hmm. It's a good way to do. It is a good way to create the offense that you want. Create the Tora taught it as like creating an image before the blur. It's like the snapshot that your brain gets, and you're giving them a snapshot that's a lie. That's a a deceiving snapshot of where you're going to be, and then you actually go to wherever you intend to be, where they aren't going to be. Do we got any more footy?
I think that's all the ones people sent in. I've also got footage of that QRC that we were talking about with Yornder.
Yeah, the Urinder fighting with his longsword.
Let's do it.
Yeah, let me pull that up.
I couldn't fight in this QRC. Boo.
Because you were running it, you goon.
When did QRC happen?
This was last summer.
This was last summer.
Oh, okay. This is the last.
Yeah, 9
QRC.
months ago.
Cool. Did the title
so
say
there'll be match
finals?
forms throughout.
Were you matching?
I think you all unmatch at one point though, because it looks like he is fighting like longsword, and against your rapier and dagger. Although he kind of always fights longsword. So
yeah.
Urinder fights some variation of longsword.
USC is Queen's Rapier Championship.
Mm-hmm.
So this is our single one where he's using a longsword with one hand. I think I landed that shot.
100% you did, yeah.
What a crazy. Yeah, you can see the blade bend.
That was what a hip hinge.
Right.
They're trying to get the fuck out.
This man has like. Oh wait, no. Does he get me? Hold on.
Yeah, frame by frame it. Let's see. Tape.
Oh, did he get you?
I kneeled down afterwards, which says
Yeah.
to me that I
You
lost
took
that
that knee.
fight.
I don't remember anything. It was hot as the dickens. That's all I remember. Oh, did he cut your face?
I think he cut my face here.
Yeah,
I think this is a push cut.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I think I don't actually hit his body. I think I'm on his clothes.
Oh. Oh, no, I think he hits your side. I think he stabs into your side. Right there. And you were caught like in his sleeve or something.
Oh yeah, that blade bend right here.
Yeah.
That's a funny shot. Yeah, I think I caught maybe on his sleeve or on like the cloth at the back of his neck.
I was like, I don't think he cut through the strong of your blade. That weapon is not that chunky.
This is a bad example of longsword.
Can you rewind before the start of you guys firing?
Yeah.
I just want to see what your... I feel like if you freeze right here, give me a pause. Yeah. If I walked up into this fight right here, I would 100% take his fingers. Like, not deal with anything else. It is like, take fingers, defend the high line, knowing that the sword's coming from above.
So one additional layer of context on this is that he and I have fought each other like 1,000 times because we go to the same practice and have for the last 10 years.
Oh, okay.
So there's those like 3 layers of like, I know you're going to do this, but you know I'm going to do that going on here. But I agree with you. I think the fingers are where I should be shooting.
If I stepped up into this fight right here, I would just be like, fingers right now. He has no guard.
Yeah.
Take the fingers, and then you think like a rising horizontal blade to defend the high line, because you know that the high line is going to come rain down on you.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I think I get that.
Yeah.
Looks like he stopped fighting at that point.
Yeah. I think the sword hit.
Yeah.
Can you watch that one more time? I want to see that.
Yeah.
I will say this is only a 4-minute video, so you guys did the finals in like 4 minutes.
Hell yeah. we in the month prior, because we're at the same practice, we once a week we would pick a form and we would practice it against each other at try hard mode. So we had a lot of practice for this finals specifically against each other.
Yeah.
Something for both of you.
Yeah.
When you see somebody, like if you look at their hand placement on the sword, right? He's at pommel, like end of sword. When you see that, one of the things you can put into your head is, can I just essentially disarm them, right? You have so much more leverage when you contact blade to blade. So for both of you, if you like do a glide off of that or a heavy enough beat, especially if you have gravity on your side, you get to disarm them in a way that they are vulnerable for the offensive follow up.
Here's longsword.
Here's longsword. He clowns on me.
Yeah, now less true.
Yeah, look, just his longsword form is incredible.
Do you longsword, Robert?
Do I longsword?
Yeah.
I dabble.
Okay.
I think both of us dabble.
I think I dabble a little bit more than you do, but I am not that good at it.
Did you just get a
scorecard? But I started with longsword. Like,
did you? Okay.
I love your scorecard paddle. That's great.
Yeah, that was a good update. I think that was Cluin's doing, right?
What, the scorecard thing? Yeah. Cluin ran
that.
out and gave it to me.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah.
It's easy.
Great.
And great for the SCA context.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot how long I lasted here.
I'm pretty sure that was your guys' longest fight.
Yeah, when you see, like, if you watch the frame by frame, when they throw at you with the thrust, they are full extended at, like, pommel.
Yeah, yeah, that's how you're under almost always those.
Yeah, not this interaction, but, like, prior.
Yeah.
That's where you can rain down, because you had your tip high, you could rain down a glide or a beat that just knocks their sword into the, in that list fence, and then you can follow up. Because your follow-up is fast and on point. But similar to the conversation we've had with some of the other folks who rolled through, I think your willingness to kind of abuse leverage in blade to blade could be better.
Yeah, that's a good point. I think I'm so used to fighting him with his two-hander. I don't even think about that. Or with two, because when he has two hands on the sword, I definitely can't do that.
Yes, correct. Yeah. Yep. It's only in the moment when they post up, right? They're on the pommel. Yeah. They're really trying to get you with the range. You defended yourself. I mean, you step back. You defended yourself well. I have no criticism of that. It's just those are the moments when you will look back like, oh, I could have maybe abused that.
Yeah, I think this ends 3-2 overall. I lost a frame.
You love that inside parry. You're so good at it.
I do. It's my favorite freaking shot. That inside parry into
the strong inside, yeah.
Yeah, literally right here.
This is, if you look at your feet, this is exactly what I was talking about earlier with the lefty. This is like, you see how you start to the outside of their foot.
Yeah.
Like, it gives you the angle, it gives you the gravity that you can just, boom, explode their sword.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. My feet is outside of him.
You just start outside. I don't know whether you did that with intent or just kind of like intuitively. But you see how your foot is 1 foot width to the outside of their foot.
Yeah.
On the match side.
So to do that beat or glide in this situation, do you need to get blade contact first? So do you provoke
or provoke it? Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Like right here. Okay. This is what I would do if you did not have range, which they have a little bit of length on you, I think, in this context.
Yeah, a couple inches maybe.
So you might probe the hand because it's the closest thing, but that's right. They're going to throw at your body 100%. But you have advantage because they're on one item. You have 2 implements. But if you can provoke the thrust from here, right, and you step back, you're fine. But as they are thrusting, then you bring your blade from a little bit higher to a little bit lower to just knock their blade as it's coming forward. You have the follow-up for a long tempo.
So you're talking about using a beat in place of a parry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
If they're going to throw. Yep. If they are at the pommel, right? You can tell they have a very weak grip on the blade. If they have a strong grip on the blade, I'm not going to do that. It's going to
Yeah,
be a capture, a proper parry and riposte, run up their blade with my strength.
Mm-hmm.
Or
It's an
something else.
interesting like change of thinking about it. I usually think of beats as like an offensive thing. Like when they're in guard, I'll beat their sword to hit them.
You imagine, right? If they, I don't know what's going to happen. I haven't seen this video, but the way it's frozen right now, it looks like they could just do a very deep Sal-styled lunge at you, which means, and you have every capacity to step back and be fine. You're not going to get hit, but you could, in that time you step back, take your blade and just hit their blade from above. It doesn't matter whether it's a beat or glide or even that well executed. You imagine they're extended and they're at pommel. You gain so much advantage off that when you come back in, it's going to take them, in rapier terms, forever to get their blade back in line. Right? And you can replace it with your buckler.
I want to take a moment to shout out both of us having Penzix tape still on our masks.
Yeah.
That's probably practice even.
I had Penzix tape on my mask until my elevation. I literally peeled it off the day of.
You know, they say reduce and reuse, right? Those are our first two.
Oh, that reminds me, Boomy, we're going to be on the same side at this Penzix.
Yeah, the three of us should
purple
do
Penzix.
some nonsense.
It's so rare.
Purple war.
Yeah, the three of us should just go fucking ham.
Yeah, I'm down. The kingdom, just like, especially in the rapier side, like, go do you, go have fun.
Yeah, I love that.
They run heavy with you.
I was like, I'm down. On the armored side, there's a little bit more like unit cohesion that's necessary.
I mean, that's fine. I don't have a unit. I just run spear.
Yeah,
so
come play. I love getting the crossovers to spear squad if we're all on the same side.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
Some of the most fun. Yeah, come run spear squad. This is the 5th bout with a longsword.
Yeah, he's a longsword purist.
He is a longsword purist.
That is, in this context, right? In heavy rapier in the SCA, I feel like longsword just has built-in weaknesses.
100% agree.
Inherent.
Yeah. I'm continually so impressed. He's probably one of our top 5, if not definitely top 10 fencers in Aethelmarc. And the fact that he does it with longsword is crazy.
I think he's like top 10.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's cool.
I think top 5 is like me, Marcus, Iago, probably Cluin. He's like Brian.
They got great movement. The person you're fighting.
Jornder also has some crazy, like, joint. Not like he's dislocating his joints every time he fights.
The ability to be bendy.
He has like a genetic type beat.
Yeah, I think it's Marfan's.
You should be.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
You, Robert, should be familiar with that drop to the right side. That's like a Sal drop. That's several folks do that.
What's that?
Like when they do the hip hinge and go essentially parallel to ground.
That thing, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You should. I think that one of the things that in your head should be when you catch that inside parry that you do super well. That when you throw, don't throw it to where they are. Throw it to where they're going to be. If that makes sense, like make that your intention as opposed to kind of like catching it like in the moment. Like, hey, I'm just gonna do this thing and place my blade where you're probably gonna be. Also, you're talking about their mobility. A lot of people look at you, Robert, as a very bendy human.
Yeah.
They look at you with that same like, why are you so bendy?
Real.
Yeah, I do a lot of flexibility training. I'm working on my splits lately. I'm getting like pretty close.
Nice.
Yeah.
Side splits or front back?
A bit of both. I had to stop doing side splits for a bit because I kind of injured myself a little bit.
Yeah, going a little deep. That's awesome.
Yeah. Most recently front splits.
I'm working on lifting heavy weights.
You and me both, boy. What are you up to with your squats these days?
385.
Hell yeah. Is that the 1RM?
Huh?
1 rep max?
Yeah, 1 rep max, or is that like what you work out with?
I got 385 for 3 the other day.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That's sick.
1,000-pound club.
My squat and my bench press are both up right now.
What do you think is your weakest lift?
My weakest is chest press for sure.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, my weakest is chest press. So last time when I PR'd, I got 365 for squat. So I've gone up like 20 pounds. And then I got 385 for deadlift, and then I got like 215 for chest.
Okay.
So, like,
yeah. That's a big.
Yeah.
I mean, based on your numbers, yeah, that's a pretty big difference.
Yeah.
So I would expect, like, based on the other two numbers, like you're at like a 3-ish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For the
No.
press.
Yeah. My chest press is the weakest one. So that's the one I've been working on the most.
The pros and cons of or at least what I found of chasing those numbers are that, like, I have absolutely in the past sacrificed form to chase numbers 100%, where I'm cheating just a little bit, and I know it too. I'm like, fuck me, I shouldn't.
Yeah, I try to focus on lifting and not just moving the weight, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Like,
Intentional engagement. I found like my I think I PR'd at like 310, 315 in that range for the bench press.
Yes.
But I was doing so much in terms of like arch drive and bounce off the chest and slightly asymmetric because my right was stronger. So I was like driving more out of the right, and the left was like a little lower on my body. It was like the bar was at a slight cant. And I've been big on like lowering the weight and just making it as strict, always fully touching the bench with my back all the time. Just making strict lifts with much lower weight relatively.
I feel that's what I focus on. I feel like my body's really prone to like muscle strains and like tendon injuries, so I always try to do like stay conservative with my lifting.
I'm gonna be going hard for like just a little bit longer, and then I'm gonna switch back into like fencing tournament mode.
Nice. Are you gonna try to win the next QRC?
No, I can't make it to the next QRC. My next goal is best of the known world.
Nice. You're gonna be there for it this year at Pensick?
I hope so. It's Saturday, right?
Hell yeah.
I think it's usually Friday.
It's usually early.
And maybe not. I don't know. We'll see. I would like to make it. I've never gotten to fight in it before.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah. I really enjoyed last year when it was just like bear pit. It was like the novice tourney, but I want to say for adults, for grants and higher.
Also, we're gonna see what my Pensick looks like because crown stuff.
Yeah, if you are Prince, you're gonna be in a different ballgame.
That's right.
Are y'all going up to East?
I wanted to.
I can't make it, so our crown is the same day, and I have someone fighting for me. So.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I was talking to him today. He's like, "Yeah, I think I have like a 50-50," and I was like, "That is great. That's scary to think about."
Yeah, that's a work.
Yeah.
Good luck.
That's some confidence. Yeah, the list is short on past winners this time.
I think his biggest fights are gonna be Andreas and Murdoch.
Yeah, they're the only ones that have won before.
Right, but he also so the guy I'm fighting, or that's fighting for me, he's a transplant. So he came in during the pandemic. He came to Aethelmarc, but he's from Artemisia, and so he has like a very West Coast style of like fighting.
Okay, yeah.
Like, he fights really different than like a lot of other people in Aethelmarc, and at least according to like Andreas, who's a duke, he's like, yeah, he fights weird. So he fights very different than what Aethelmarc is used to. So
what date does it crown?
Same day.
Same
day as East Kingdom.
Oh, same day as East.
May 3rd, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, that's when I'll be fighting crown too.
Nice.
Nice.
Yep. Take some footage. I would love to watch how your fighter does and see their fights.
Yeah. I'm really excited to see how it goes. I also am definitely like after talking with him and like watching him practice and stuff, there's definitely a bit of nerves. I'm like, oh, he could do it.
Hey, that's the That's the waiver or the agreement, the handshake as you go into a crown and say,
Right.
if
Yeah.
we win, it is now our job.
Yep.
And that should be. Hopefully, everybody who went to this crown understands that. Like that's a.
Yes.
I feel like that's part of the culture that is the SCA. It's like you are now consenting to the potential for this job, and should hopefully do it enthusiastically and to the best of your ability.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it.
Hell yeah, I love that.
Some nerves. But yeah,
Hey,
I think it'd be cool to
Robert.
sit the throne.
Yeah, what's up?
Thank you for putting this together. That was a blast.
Yeah. Yeah, thank you for hosting. I always I really appreciate your analytical
Yeah,
skills. It's great.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's kind. Yeah, try to give for all those left in chat. There's a video review is easily one of the best ways to increase any and all skill acquisition pursuits, like regardless of whether it's this or something else. And I hopefully y'all got something out of this stream. I will post it for those who want to watch all of it. It'll be up on YouTube. I think I co-stream to YouTube, so it might be up on the live. And I don't know how that works. Well, we're learning. We're learning as we go. Y'all got any last words?
I think I'm good.
Yeah, this is fun.
Yeah, this is awesome.
That's dope.
Thanks for helping make it happen.
Absolutely. Chat, I hope y'all have a good night and a good day and a good weekend. If y'all have off tomorrow, I hope you have fun. And we will see you all